Position. Da-da-da.
Oh no, Steam, come on. Please.
Did it die?
Steam was unable to sync your files with the Steam Cloud? Why?
Oh no.
You do
Okay,
it.
well I believe in you. You'll get it. Hey guys, good to see you all. How was the week?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, alright. Well,
Yeah.
then, that's come from the guy that's been doing math day in and day out, so don't mind him. Fantastic
Never-ending
to see all of
suffering.
you. Let's see what you got up to last session. Tuesday group. What strange fun. Yes, so a couple of things happened in town, and the first of all of this was you managed to have a chat with Mavrin and Westry, who presumably by the end of the episode had either died somewhere horribly in the fireplane or made it to the Azure, and who knows what they're up to now. But you were able to save them from two mages that were following in their tracks, and eventually managed to find out that those two mages died to the combined forces of the druids and Jack up on the surface. Things got more complicated as you eventually found out that the two wizards may very well have been some sort of strange necromantic vessels that were being controlled at a distance, according to some research that Ivan had done in his clerical days in his former life. The things kind of settled down a little bit. A lot of people had left town, and so there's a certain quietness that has kind of descended on Valoon. But during that night, you managed to actually pick up on a decent prophecy, Middleton, and you found out that there's apparently some sort of oracle off towards the east, and in the prophecy, it depicted you all as traveling to him. So, taking that as a sign, you decided to gather everyone up and go over there. Some other interesting things that happened. Vorok managed to see a unicorn and then proceeded to brag about it profusely the next day. Understandably.
Pixar didn't happen.
And then you guys ran into a group of orcs that were traveling across the plains and managed to best them in a pretty epic combat. You're now 3 days out from Valoon, with about a single day's worth of travel to finish getting to the Oracle, and we rejoin you all in the fields here with the corpses of orcs everywhere. What do you guys want to do?
I loot the corpse.
Loot. Yeah.
Loot the animal.
So let's see. I don't remember if you looted them or not, but
I
let's...
don't think we did.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
just
didn't add
rolled-
anything to my inventory, so.
I rolled a 5 for luck, so that's not too great. You find a total of...
I mean, that's pretty good, right? 5, that's like almost 20.
You find 9 gold pieces in total amongst these orcs. The one riding on the warg seemed to have the majority of it, but you find a couple of coins here and there, some stray money that they seem to have with them. They were rather impoverished, kind of like a group that was on a long trek and had long run out of supplies, or maybe had prioritized bringing other things like their warm cloaks instead of bringing all their coin. Apart from this, you find that they have weapons on them. A great many battle axes can be found, and great axes as well. However, they are not really in the condition where they could be sold for any money, but are perfectly usable if you guys want them for gear. There's a
Do
couple
any of
sets of
them-
hide armor too.
Do any of them have daggers?
Oh, let's see. You're able to find a set of 2 daggers. They're rough but usable. One of them was bringing them with him, maybe as a trinket.
I'll take both of them.
Okay,
Usable.
sounds good.
And how much monies was it?
There's 9.
Yep,
9 gold. 9 over 4. 9 over 3. That's easier. Who is unconscious?
Ivan snores soundly in the corner.
Oh, 9 over 2. That's even better. 4.5. You want to hang on to that, Jujare?
Sure.
Okay.
All 9 of it?
Yeah, just because that I don't feel like splitting that up, and that's a very
People
small amount of gold.
People come to me when they need money for shit anyway, so.
I know. I'm known as like the Jew elf, so I was called a Jew when we were in where was it with the not at all racist
Caricature?
caricature. Can't remember his name right now. In
Jin?
Lenma. Jin, yes.
I think that was it.
Are our friends stabilized?
They have been, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna assume no, but is it possible to drag Vorok?
Oh no, I'm up. I rolled a 20.
You're up? Oh, that's right. You were lying down on your.
I'm looking at
Miniature.
this warg and casting Speak with Animals as a ritual.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I will carry Ivan, however, until he wakes up.
Alright. The creature seems to eat for a great deal of time. The majority of you go to see if you can fix up Ivan as best you can, while Vorok, you attempt to keep the beast in a state of calm while it eats. So, at this point, you're going through your ritual, and the whole thing doesn't seem to really stop from eating, though it does eye you curiously on occasion. By the time that you finish your spell, what do you want to say to it?
I just want to look over at it and say,
Warg, these orcs are weak and Vorok is strong. Come fight with me.
What does this sound like to the rest of the party? Like bark, bark, woof, woof, or can we understand him as well?
It doesn't
not sure how
say
this-
in the spell. I would say it probably sounds like a combination of a language you don't understand, like maybe Druidic or Sylvan, interspersed with the sounds of the beast that he's speaking to. So in this case,
Okay.
yeah, kind of like growls and things like that.
Well, the point is, I can't understand.
Yeah, you guys are just like, what is going on? Go ahead and make that animal handling check there, Vorok. Oh, shit, son.
18.
The beast responds to you with but a single word, posed like a question, and it says, "Feed?" Taking a brief moment to look up from you, there's just like chunks of gore and blood that falls from its mouth down onto the already mangled corpse below it, which has become its dinner.
It's a good thing it's intelligent.
Yes, you may feed on the foes that I defeat in battle.
The creature responds by kind of gnashing its teeth, taking a piece of meat that was hanging in its fangs there and finally sending it down its gullet. It seems to lower its head a little bit, as if thinking, and then says nothing to you and continues to eat.
Alright, well, I'll just tell it,
Well, feel free either way. I do not expect you to be bound to me, but if you wish to travel alongside, I would be honored.
The beast lets out a growl, a kind of... I need you to roll an insight check.
I need one. 11.
11? Okay. You think that this growl means agreement. You can't be sure, but it seems as though the creature is game and has decided to go with you. Though right now, it clearly just wants to eat.
Okay, well, just, I will nod at it and, just kind of let it do its thing and come over here to my party.
Okay. So at this point, you guys have had maybe about the 10 minutes that it's taken for this ritual to pass, and Ivan is long passed out, right? You're not really napping, you're actually passed out, aren't you?
Yeah, he's unconscious.
Okay, I thought so.
believe. Can I, in that time, then, like, survey the surroundings, kind of see where we have to go to next?
Sure.
I know there was like a hill or something over here.
Yes. So, if you hop up to the top of the hill there and look off into the distance, roll a perception for me. Let's see what you can find.
Oh shit! I'm sure this is gonna go great. I'm gonna move these guys. Let's see here. Oh boy. 6.
6. Okay.
It's okay. It's just I'm getting all the low ones out.
You look around off into the distance, and you're not sure exactly if you're simply not looking in the right spots, or maybe if the snow off in the distance, which falls ever so gently, has obscured things, but all you can really see is the forest off in that one direction, and a set of like long fields that go out in the other, towards the east. You know you're supposed to travel there for another day, but you don't really see this aforementioned hill with its cave that you're supposed to head
Right.
to. Maybe when you get closer it'll be more obvious. Hopefully you don't miss it.
Wait, we're on a hill though.
Yes, and as you look around this hill, you see no cave entrance.
Okay. It's not covered in like snow or some shit. You're not like fucking with me, right?
You don't see any entrance.
Okay. Shit. What is the skill for check for cave?
I don't know.
Okay. Once Vorok is done doing his thing, because I don't know how long exactly this takes, I'm gonna call him up to the hill.
Okay. So,
Presuming-
Vorark has
presumably-
finished by now. You can call him over.
Vorok,
Yes, Middleton.
come to the top of the hill. I need your help.
Comes at the top of the hill. What is it?
And I just I kind of like gesture to the area in which we're supposed to be heading. Can you just, you're rather taller than me. I don't know if you can see anything, but could you just take a look out there, see if you see any distinguishing landmarks?
A perception check, please, Vorark.
Better than 6, if you don't mind.
Not much. 9.
That's more. Oh, no bonus?
No bonus.
Shit.
Your height doesn't seem to help, and as you look around and go, well, what about this? Meneltirn has seen that. You guys don't really come up with anything new.
I look back down to Darren. Is Ivan all right?
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay, good. Come up here then.
A perception check, please.
I can only see 60 feet.
Yeah. Maybe you're on it already.
I highly doubt this.
I don't. Oh.
No,
God
no, we're
fucking
not.
shit,
It is snowing
damn it.
outside.
While they're still looking, I'm just gonna, assuming I've still got that speak with animals on, I'm just gonna go to the warg and say, excuse me, I don't mean to disturb your meal, but you know of a cave in the area.
Illusion, just can I start casting detect magic?
Sure, yeah, that's fine. Ritual?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. The creature turns to you and says, "No cave."
Nowhere around here? Are you sure?
Just kind of gnashes at you and shakes its head.
Okay, well, sorry for doubting you. I'm gonna... Oh, that's Darren not moving on. I'm gonna go back and I'll relay this to Meneltirn and Darren.
Okay.
When he says this, I just look at him and I go, "You think that beast is intelligent,
Well, intelligent enough to have a conversation.
but intelligent enough to, well, say, remember things or even care about its surroundings? I don't trust that thing as far as you can throw it."
It doesn't look very
it
throwable.
didn't kill you, did it?
What does that have to do with whether or not it knows a cave is in the area?
Well, it's trustworthy.
Trustworthy does not mean not stupid. Nor
Well,
do I
in
believe
any
that it-
case, I don't think there's anything in the area. Perhaps your prophecy is off by a bit.
No.
No. Just no.
the only response he gets from Meneltier. And I continue to ritual cast detect magic.
Incorrect.
I'm pretty beat at this point. I'm gonna just go chill by Ivan and try to get some rest here.
Yeah, like have a
Ivan's
seat.
on my back at the moment.
Okay, everybody rests while Meneltier and you finish up your spell here. And by the time that you finish, you don't detect any magic around you. As you wander about the hill and the surrounding and whatnot, you feel nothing as far as magic goes from any of the corpses or the hill itself. The only magic would come from, well, let's see. Does the party have magical items? I don't think you do.
No.
No.
I mean, I'm magical. Ivan is kind of magical.
My parents say I'm magical.
I'm more holy than magical.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nothing registers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If this is indeed the hill that you're supposed to go to, and there is some sort of oracle hidden under here, the magic items they have, if they have any, are not being picked up.
I was more hoping for like an illusory entrance of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just covered in snow, there's not much I can do about that. Because we're not going to start digging out God knows how much snow is piled up on here. How deep is the snow?
Right now, it's not very intense. It seems to have lightened up a little bit in the last little while, and you can see maybe about an inch or two here and there.
Only an inch?
Yeah.
It's been snowing for like months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It seems as though it seems...
That's a lot more relieving.
Yeah, it waxes and wanes. There have been times where you've been traveling and seen multiple feet of snow, and then other times where the wind swipes it away, and then it goes down to about a little bit.
Right.
It seems in these fields that the total snow cover is kind of kept down by the wind that kind of makes its way through.
Right. Okay. Well then I guess I'm gonna just go get a short rest with the rest of them.
Okay, everybody rests. And
I need to
are you
roll.
guys going to go for a long rest or just a short rest?
I wouldn't go for a long rest in the elements.
No,
Yeah, I was
short
gonna
rest
go
just to get some health back for now. Get
Yeah.
Ivan
Okay.
up.
So Ivan remains unconscious, and you know that it'll probably be a few hours until he comes back to it, unless you have magical healing. But if you want, you can go ahead and roll your own hit dice to get your stuff back.
Does anybody have like any kind of healing anything? Ration.
That unconscious guy.
Oh. Now, I have a question for all of you here, except for
Oh.
Ivan, since he's unconscious. Do any of you three fear that the warg is going to attack you in your sleep or when you're not looking?
Meneltier does.
Okay.
I do
lot.
not at all.
Meneltier, the creature eyes you constantly between its meal. As the 30 minutes progresses and you all sit there and rest, you find that any time that you look in the beast's direction, it's taking a glance at you while it
By,
devours
like-
the innards.
By like the third time it does, I look to Vorok and I say, Vorok,
Yes, what is it, Meneltier?
we need to kill that thing.
Whoa, no! You need to just lighten up. It's not going to attack you.
It's eyeing me, Vorok.
It's eyeing you because you do not trust it.
Why would I?
What have you got against nature, Meneltier? The warg, the druids? What did they do to you?
First off, I have nothing against the druids or nature.
My parents were killed by a
a-
leaf.
I have a lot against, well, terrible, horrible beasts that are basically alive only to kill me. Like the Manticore, for instance.
Well, I would not be worried about this warg.
We should kill it now.
Well, I'm definitely not going to kill it, and I have a feeling if you try, it's probably going to attack you.
Okay, how far does magic missile reach? I think 120 feet, right?
we go, boys.
I could just. Wait a minute. Is that right? No, that's not. Is it? Oh yeah. So I used all those, but I can. Because I got a short rest. I can. What do I gain back after a short rest?
I know wizards can pump out a few spell slots when they short rest.
Yeah. 4th level, recover up to 2 levels worth. So I'll do 2 first level. And that's over. You can recover, and that's just over a short rest, right? Oh no, once per day when you finish a short rest. Okay, so I can only do that once. So I'll do 2 level 1s.
As soon as you start casting the first one, I'm gonna try to whack him in the head.
Oh well, no, Mental Tyrann. I mean, Mental Tyrann isn't doing anything right now. Now he's getting his short rest. How far is 120 feet? Because that's about how far he's gonna
It's
get.
calculating.
Let's see here. 120 over 5. What is that? What is that? 24 on the table.
You can also just move your dude, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, but I just wanted to figure out what the distance from the warg was. I see what you did there.
Like there-ish.
So Mental Tyrann, I guess that's like on top of the hill then, about, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, not actually getting that close to it,
Yeah.
obviously, but getting within range of his spell. Stands up on the top of the hill, and he looks down to Vorak. I don't know if Vorak is looking at him, but he just shakes his head.
I'm paying attention as you walk away, and as soon as you do this, I run to the warg.
Okay, the missiles hit it no matter what.
No, I'm gonna protect it.
Right, but they'll fly around you.
No, I'm gonna jump on top of it and cover it.
I shall shelter it like it's my baby. Okay, so at this point, you have started to wander off to the hill, and Vorak, you suspect something from what Mental Tyrann has said in the last little while. You're worried about some sort of trickery and don't think he's just getting a head start on the walk to the east. You move over towards the beast, and as you do, it seems to have paused eating, laying down with a sort of heft and fatness to its belly here from having multiple corpses to feast upon. And as you wander over towards it, it gives you a look, looks over towards Mental Tyrann, looks over towards you, but ultimately makes no action. It kind of like rights itself up, like it's ready to move if need be, but doesn't like get up from a seated position.
I think you might be in trouble, warg.
Which it
And I'll
can't
look at Mental
understand.
Tyrann and frown.
How long does Speak with Animals last?
He wouldn't hear it at this point. I think it's only like 10 minutes.
Okay. Because if it's
Yeah,
like
it's
an
like
hour or
detect-
something, then
It's
you'd
like
still be good.
detect magic, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Similar time, that is.
So, if that's the case, and it's no longer effective, you try to communicate with the creature, and it looks at you puzzled, able to register maybe some feeling from you in the way that you hold yourself, but you get the sense that your words are completely lost to it. It seems almost alarmed as you come over and say these things to it, and it continues looking at you. Meanwhile, Mental Tyrann, what are you up to on the hill?
Casting magic missile.
Okay, go ahead.
When it
and
looks like
roll
he's doing something, I'm gonna try to yell, like, motion for it to run away.
Okay. Go ahead and make a damage roll, please, Mental Tyrann, as you cast Magic Missile.
Yeah, so it takes 1 action. Does that mean it only takes like 6 seconds to arrive on target, essentially?
Yeah, they're pretty fast.
Okay, so that's 9.
9 damage. Okay. You cast your Magic Missile, and the darts fly out and streak towards the creature. Vorak, you try to shoo it away, and it tries to run, but unsuccessfully, the 3 darts hit it in different spots. It runs away and quickly leaves your complete range here from Magic Missile, and it
Okay.
continues to do so, dashing as fast as it can. Do you want to pursue it?
So wait a minute. So is that how far it moved?
It would manage to get to, yeah, basically about that far.
Okay, so I have a move speed of 30 feet.
You get the sense it's probably faster than this, but it was prone when you attacked it, so it had to
Right.
get up.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck, he says.
I'm gonna fucking kill this piece of shit. I hit it again. I cast another magic missile.
Okay, roll damage.
Don't waste all your fucking spell slots in this warg.
I will. You don't fucking understand. You guys forget Meneltyrn is forever scarred after the events of the Manticore. Has a dreaded fear of beasts. That's 10, by the way.
10 damage. Okay. You shoot this out, and the creature is clearly wounded. It hobbles for a second, but then, now already on all fours, it breaks into a full sprint and moves a staggering 100 feet away. It is well out of range unless you have any other fuckery to do.
No, I just walk back to where we're all sitting.
Okay. The creature continues to run at full speed and does so for quite a while, only taking a brief moment once it's got quite a bit of distance to look back at your group, and then it keeps going, wandering off into the snow.
I walk up to Meneltyrn in rage and clock him in the side of the head.
Okay. Unarmed attack.
Recklessly.
Okay, please do.
I'm waiting for the orcs to come back with friends.
With 2 words.
Oh god, that was terrible. So that is a... Not gonna hit. 9?
No. Although
Even without his
you're
mage
not
armor.
far off.
Yeah, I think he's got like an AC of 10 or 11.
I have
So-
no 12.
Okay, very nearly. In a complete rage here, Vorok sends out a fist towards you, but he's so reckless with his swing that you're able to kind of like step back and it misses here. He's clearly upset.
So, seeing this, I go ahead, action disengage, and
You can't disengage. I attack you again with my fist.
wait, but you can't
Sentinel.
disengage.
Sentinel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so make
How
an
does-
opportunity attack on him.
How does Sentinel work?
If he hits
You
you with
can't
his opportunity
disengage.
attack, then you're gonna...
Right, but I mean, what's the trigger for it, rather?
Like walking away from me.
Oh, you know what? Actually,
Enemies disengaging still provoke opportunity attacks, and if the opportunity attack hits, your movement is set to 0.
hypnotic gaze.
Oh no, what's that?
Go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw.
Dude,
You have to beat
barbs are
a-
good at these.
You have to beat a 14.
Consider
There you
yourself
go.
beat.
There you go.
At this point, I'm just going to step in between them.
Okay, yeah, Meneltyrn's trying to cast magic on him, Vorok is swinging at him. You step over to try and break things up.
First off, I was just trying to disarm the situation. Hypnotic gaze would have just lulled him into a nice, sense of stability, let's say.
That's what they call it.
Milton, I know you don't get along with things or people, but at least try and act like it.
Judean, this elf will be the death of us. He can't get along with anything related with nature. Our best hope is to join with the druids, yet we're following this false prophecy.
Vorok, forgive me for saying this, but you're a moron, and you have no idea what you're talking about. That is a warg, a beast of the orcs, filthy and vile, just as they are. It has no allegiance to nature. It's an abomination. And you wish to keep it with us? What, were we going to bring it into town next?
It
Where
would
we
come of
kill
its own
people?
free will.
It
I
would
do not
kill.
wish to be its master.
You do not understand, Vorok.
Well, when it returns to feast on you, don't expect me to help.
I will kill it when it returns.
That's it. Both of you to your corners. You're in timeout.
With pleasure. And I walk away.
Jaren pulls
Top
out
of the
2
hill.
collapsible dunce helmets that he keeps with him at all times and firmly places them upon the 2 adventurers. So, with the situation diffused here, the 2 of you back off. And what do you guys want to do? Are you going to continue resting, hoping that Ivan will wake in the next few hours? Or carry him off towards the east? Go back to town? What are you going to do? Also, Relic, you may have your Skittle back.
I get my Skittle back.
Just real quick question on the map where you have this kind of like whited out area. What was that for again?
That's the destination. You have one more day to go over there.
Okay.
I
Middleton
will-
is just going to look into the distance until his companions begin to start moving.
Okay.
I will hoist Ivan on my back.
It's
Alright,
pretty
let's-
damn heavy. I don't think you can carry Ivan. I think Vorok can.
I will hoist Ivan onto Warrock's back.
I do not need your help, Dudan. I'll pick him up with one hand and throw him on my back.
Let's just go to this thing and forget about all the trouble.
I had to talk to a wizard today. I'm grumpy. Hoisting.
I shout over, "Come on, Metal Tyrion!"
Ivan is
Middleton
quite heavy.
gets up, not looking back to see that they're coming, and just begins walking in the direction that he knows they need to go.
Okay. So, Vorok, you're able to carry him. What's your total weight that you can carry?
I'm probably gonna be a little slowed up here.
Yeah.
It is 160.
Oh, I can
Before
carry more than
being
you.
slowed?
Just
Oh.
speed times 5, right?
It's what is it?
Strength.
It's your strength score times 5, and then times 2, because you're a Goliath.
Okay, so then 320.
Okay, so that's like the total that you can carry before it starts to slow you, so... Given that you're not wearing armor, yeah, you're able to move at normal pace and carry Ivan. It's not comfortable, and it's on the limits of how much you want to carry, but you're able to do so. And
I'm
the
not
group
gonna be able to
wanders
run
off.
or anything.
While wandering, Ivan, you eventually wake up. Consciousness returns to you. You're in motion, being hoisted around, and as you open your eyes, you can see that Vorok has you slung over his shoulder here. You're staring at the snow and long tracks that go off into the direction that everyone is not traveling towards.
Borok, think you can put me down?
Oh, good to see you awake, Ivan. Place him on the ground.
So what happened?
Well, we defeated the orcs. I got a warg to join us, but Meneltirn was afraid of it and scared it away.
I see.
And now we're just traveling to this prophecy, I suppose.
Gonna take a second to throw cure wounds on myself.
Oh, not a bad idea.
Hey. Alright. Let's keep moving.
Okay. So, while you're moving along here, it only takes a couple of hours before the sun is setting off in the distance. Do you guys want to go for a camp here and then set out the next day?
How
far
close
away
are we? Yeah.
According to the map and the point that your prophecy has led you to, about a day left. You should run into it sometime late afternoon on the next day if all travel holds up.
Okay. Middleton will be ready to rest.
Okay.
then.
Everybody gonna go for a long rest?
Yeah.
Yes, good.
Alright, let's see how things go. Alright. The weather seems to lighten up a little bit, and throughout the night, the cold chill remains, but lessens a little, giving you guys a nice restful sleep. Everybody gets a long rest, heal yourselves up, get your spell slots back, all that jazz. You wake up the next day and set out for more travel.
Middleton's rest is anything but restful.
Okay.
Worrying constantly that the warg might return, because Warrock wouldn't let him kill it.
Tried. In table talk, you got close.
Yeah.
So
Now
let's see.
Middleton will forever be a furred.
I've heard. Do you go for the last bit of travel to try and find this place?
Yep.
Alrighty. Let's see. I'd like everybody to roll a perception check as you're going here, except for Dudarin, whose vision is currently garbage.
What if it's really close? Or what if there's tracks from the natural 20
Oh, nice.
book?
Did anybody else get a 15 or higher?
I did not.
No? Okay. You're wandering along, and there's hills coming up in the distance. What looks like a few of them that sort of roll together, going up and down into one another. It's not proper mountainous region, but there's definitely some sort of disturbance up ahead. And as you guys get closer and start wandering over one hill and over another, it becomes difficult to really see where you're going. You can definitely feel like if there's a cave here, it would be rather easy to hide it amongst these rolling hills. But as you're traveling along, perhaps it's luck, or perhaps your keen eye, off in the distance you see it, Metaltier, a small opening into one of the hills here, concealed by what looks to be something peculiar. It's like a lone bit of foliage that has survived almost, and almost gives the place away. Were it not an eternal winter that plagues the land, this would seem commonplace, but here it's kind of out of place, and you note on it.
As I see it, I just stop and point and I go, there, we're here. And I also give Vorak a smug look, telling me my prophecy ain't real.
A cave in the hills, a great prophecy.
Savage.
I give both of them just quit your shit look.
Okay.
Everyone knows it's useless on Metaltier. All he is shit. Oh.
Alright, are you guys going to head over towards it?
You know it.
I'd like you to make a perception check, please, Dudarin.
Why don't I have to?
I know,
Because
right?
your eyes don't fuck this one up, man.
invisible. There you go.
I think that's just a straight 14.
While you're traveling along... Oh wow, it's pretty bad, actually. While you're traveling along, you get up towards this entrance here. There's a couple of shrubs and some vines as well, which kind of mark out the cave entrance. Where this regular grassy hill, you could see this green forming a curtain that would make the entranceway a little bit more difficult to see. But here, with the little bits of snow that fall, the little bit of verdant color underneath the white actually gives it away instead. But something else is noticed. As you get closer, and you're now standing in front of this entrance, Dudarin, through your strange magical vision, you can tell that there is an invisible object nearby. It appears to be not necessarily a creature, more like a sphere or a ball that hovers in the air close to the entrance, about 10 feet away from it, a little bit in front of it and a little bit higher up in the air, enough that Vorak might be able to like jump and grab it, but a normal person would be out of reach.
I mean, how like, it says it's a ball. How big is it?
Maybe about the size of your fist, or like an apple.
Against my better judgment. Vorak, come here a second.
What is it, Dudarin?
Stand. I'll I'll stand right under.
Mhm.
I'll point to right under where the ball is. Stand right there.
Okay.
Now jump and try and grab something above you.
I look up and see that there's nothing above me. Look down at Dudarin. What?
At this
It's
point,
invisible.
Dudarin, you notice that the ball seems to fade from existence. With a brief shimmer, it's gone.
What are you talking about, Dudarin?
A voice calls out from the cave, and you hear what sounds like a fairly elderly man whose warbling and shaky voice makes its way up from the cave, saying, "Do come in."
I give a slight nod and I just go in.
That was an eye, wasn't it?
Are you
was in
just
a ball.
saying that to people, or what?
I'm kind of muttering it under my breath.
Okay.
Never mind, Vorak. Turns out we didn't need it.
Well, yes, there was nothing there.
Owned.
Vorok signs.
Just again on a rev. I know how Meltier fears now. I walk towards the cave.
Okay. As you begin to step into the cave, Dudarin, you find that there's a nice warmth which makes its way up, sealed to a degree by the curtain of foliage outside and kept in by the underground walls as well. It's not a particularly long tunnel. It seems to go up for maybe about 5 or 10 feet only, and then sort of curves off to the side. Around this curve, though, you can see the colorful yellowish and orangish light of what must be a nice fire that burns there.
Did everyone else follow me in?
Meneltian already went in.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'll
two
follow
are
you.
headed in.
The second he heard the voice say, "Come on in," he said, "Okay."
Okay. So everybody is traveling in. And Ivan and Vorok, you guys are going too?
Yep.
Yep.
As you crest around the corner, you find a very, very simple abode that is laid out here underneath this little hill. There is a rocky ceiling up above, and at the center of the room you find a fairly large bonfire which burns. As though by some curious magic, no smoke is produced from it, and its flames stay constant. And around the area, you note that there's a nice little bed over in the corner, which seems to have been made out of a combination of a bedroll and a bunch of foliage as well, like piles of hay. And there's a great deal of shelving that has been bolted into the rock wall here that has all sorts of strange curiosities on it. Most of them look like herbal reagents and ingredients harvested from a once more verdant earth.
Hello? Anyone here?
As you step inside and call out, you watch as a previously sort of like humanoid, light-like figure off in the corner becomes manifest and real and turns towards you, and everybody sees appearing just from behind the fire what looks like an elderly man wearing a set of curious robes. They're greenish and blackish in color, and he has with him what looks to be a cane that he leans on quite heavily as he hobbles around the fire towards your group, and he looks towards the four of you, taking off his hood to get a close examination.
Meneltian gives a deep bow.
As you look towards this man, you notice something else. Not only is he quite aged, but he seems to straddle the line between humanity and elven ancestry. He is likely a half-elf, though of what kind remains to be seen.
Could I determine that by looking at him?
Sure, you can definitely try. Go ahead and make for me a history check.
Okay. Aha! 9?
Okay.
No, 10.
It's
maybe.
difficult to tell. You're able to rule out he's most certainly not of drow ancestry. It's either a high elf or a wood elf, but you can't quite place which it is. His old age, his wrinkling, and the deterioration of his skin over time has made it rather difficult to tell.
Even with the 10?
Yeah.
Damn.
Is this his true form?
This is his true form, yes. A good question to ask.
I've been burned by this before.
Yes. He takes a hobble towards you and he says, I've been expecting all of you.
Have you?
You'll
Yes,
forgive me
yes.
if that worries me.
No,
He's an Do you know what an oracle is, Dudarin?
I mean you no harm, hero. Please,
He only-
have a seat around the fire. And he kind of motions over, pointing a tip of his cane, kind of tapping in the general direction towards the fire. It's at this point that you notice that he's quite shaky as well. Without need for any rolls for checks, you can tell that this man is near the end of his life.
Got here just in time.
I'll just look at you, Darren. How is this old man still alive out here?
Nobody says anything.
That was a question directed towards Dudarin. So.
Look at him, he can barely stand up.
It's
A
rude.
breeze would blow him over. I bet you I could blow him over.
Vorok, you're being rude.
The old
I'm not
man
going to
laughs
blow
out
him
as he
over.
hobbles around the fire and goes to take his own seat. And as he does so, he goes, yes, that's why I stay in here. No breeze comes in.
Maltune takes a seat.
Ivan sits down.
I just place my face in my hand and take a seat.
I'll take a seat and just tell the old man, no offense, I was just genuinely curious.
Yes. How about you have a seat as well there?
And yeah, I'll take a seat, everybody.
Okay. The old man sits on the opposite end of the fire from you, so that you stare between these magical flames to see his form. Sits roughly cross-legged, though with a fair kink in his back, so that he can't quite be sitting straight. He places his cane in between his legs here, from one side to the other, and kind of rests his hands on it, and says, well, what have you to say for yourselves?
For what exactly?
Well,
To be honest, Meneltiern looked at the stars and said we needed to come here.
but what would you do once you got here? Not think of that?
I assumed something would try to kill us, as it usually does.
To be honest, I didn't think you would be here, old man.
Yes. It is good that there is some doubt in your group. It'll likely serve you well, but I am very real, I assure you.
I'll just stare at him real hard, trying to discern.
If he's real.
Surely you've come here for something other than the threat of violence, of which I mean to do none unto you.
I look at
Meneltiern
Meneltiern.
gives a slight, well, information, I suppose. You being a...
Ah, there it is! And he points at you and he says, come for a prophecy, haven't you?
Meneltiern nods, and he'll also take out, all of the notes he's written on the prophecy anytime he's read it. And he'll kind of hand it over to him.
I see. Yes, these are very diligent writings. He hands them back to you, and he does so with the speed that he's either a very competent scholar who can read with a great speed, or he simply just doesn't care and hands them back to you after looking at them for just a couple seconds. You can roll insight if you'd like to find out which.
I'd like a little bit. I'd like to find out.
The fuck is this guy?
It's a 15?
Is it 50?
Yes.
He doesn't care.
Meneltiern's a little disappointed, but he hides it.
Okay.
Luckily, the mask helps.
The old man takes a moment. He leans over, and it's clear that this pains him to a degree, but he doesn't seem to grimace or anything like that. Holding out a hand, you see him trace a magical sign in the air, and 3 objects begin to hover over from one of the shelves. As they do so, they find a place in front of him so that you can kind of give them a look. They hover above the fire, seemingly untouched by the heat that comes off of it. They're placed just high enough that you can all get a good look on them, but they're not burnt up by this magical flame. The 3 objects are as follows. One of which is a deck of cards. It seems like an average thing, but fairly old and tattered, like it's seen much play at a local tavern or has been worn for some time. The other one that you see looks like a handful of bones that have been clustered together. From what animal they come from cannot be discerned, since they have been whittled down into different sort of shapes and their original form has long been lost. The last thing that you see there is a bit strange. What appears to be a completely live chicken, which is there. It looks around on occasion as it floats, but seems calm and doesn't really seem to be bothered by the things that are happening to it as it floats here. The three objects hover, and the old man speaks to you again, and he says, "Well, if you've come for a prophecy, then pick. Which is it to be?"
Menelton is very confused at the moment.
Okay. The old man looks at you and he says, "Ah, son, don't worry. I see your confusion. Take your time to speak. We have plenty. Well, I have a bit, I suppose."
Menelton looks, just like scans the group and like goes, how do we deliberate on this decision? I'm not entirely sure what we're picking.
Well, we take the chicken, obviously.
Why?
You can't tell, just look at it.
Menelton looks at the chicken and inspects it to see if there's something that he didn't see before.
As
Perception
does
check.
Darren.
Is there something extra special?
What does Varrock see in the chicken? I have to know.
Well, fuck me, I got 4.
I got an 8.
Nice. As the two of you look at it, it seems like a completely regular chicken. The only other thing is that it seems to be fairly calm. Whether this is magical or simply the chicken's demeanor, it's used to be magically handled and held over the flame with no qualms. Nobody knows.
Well,
Perhaps
that's
it's
one
illusion.
vote. That's one vote for chicken. Ivan, what do you think?
Excuse me, old man, may I talk to the chicken?
Oh, certainly.
Ritual speak with animals
Okay.
while they're looking.
Sure. What are you guys saying during this ritual?
I want Ivan's opinion.
Yeah. Menelton will look at Ivan waiting for a response.
I'll look straight in Milturn's eyes. This is your mess. Figure it out.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else is
that's,
salty about the warg.
That's one vote for whatever, I suppose.
My bet's on
Darren.
the other cards. I don't know. It
Do
just
your
seemed...
eyes show you anything?
Well, the chicken is normal.
Okay.
Nothing seems... None of these things are illusionary, I take.
The chicken is in its true form, yes, and so are the other two items. None of them are magical illusions or shape-shifted objects.
No, they're what they are. The cards stand out to me, but I couldn't tell you why.
Cards.
The old man speaks out at this point. You're all very close by, so he hears everything that you say, and your voices sort of echo about the cave. He says to you,
And Menelton isn't trying to hide anything either.
"This isn't just the elf's prophecy. This is all your business, too."
He is right. The prophecy most specifically speaks of you, Darren.
I have seen and felt that your group would eventually arrive, and so I've prepared a prophecy to read for you. But it's up to you to choose exactly which one.
What? That's where I feel like I've lost you. What do you mean, which one?
These 3 items represent 3 different readings. I won't tell you which, but your soul will know which one you need most. The Goliath seems to be decided.
I see. I think I will let him speak with the chicken before we make any hasty decisions.
The elderly man smiles here.
So
I say, Oracle, do you have some allegiance to any god? I see you wear green robes. Are you a great soul by any chance? I feel like we know nothing of you.
You're saying this to Vorok?
To the Oracle.
Oh, to the Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Oh no, I'm no great soul."
So, by my understanding, the simple act of choosing a prophecy changes ours.
That does rather make sense.
All 3 of the prophecies are true, but to try and follow all of them more than one, to be precise, would be folly.
Well, my vote's still with the cards.
You must
Vorax
pick
is
a path
obviously-
in life, Master Human. There is no attempting to go in every direction at once, lest you be pulled apart.
Vorax
Fate
chicken.
is not, as they say, written completely in stone. There are many ways that things can split off, as it were. Perhaps what Vorok learns from the chicken may help us decide.
Your spell finishes, Vorok, and you're able to speak with the chicken.
Okay, I'm just gonna look at the chicken.
Just that sentence.
So, are you a good prophecy?
The chicken turns towards you, its head jerking in your general direction, and it says, "What?"
I said, are you a good prophecy?
This time, with more emphasis, it says, "What?"
I said, are you a good prophecy?
The chicken turns around, staring about the cave as though there might be something to help it in its current predicament, but it finds nothing and eventually turns back towards the four of you. And it says, "Let me down."
Oh,
Did
you
you
know
learn
anything
anything?
about these cards or this other item? Or this
What?
old man? Anything?
At this point, the chicken doesn't quite respond with any words, but lets out a fairly distressed-sounding squawk of some sort.
Okay.
seeing that this is like a conversation that's like escalating somehow, I can't understand it. Vorok, what's going on?
This chicken is very confused.
As
Okay.
am I. Maybe let's not go with the confused chicken.
I'm slightly
I still
leaning
say the
towards
chicken.
that, but I will let you talk with it for a little more, see if there's anything that you can gather. Although I feel like I don't know. I don't.
The old man
Continue,
speaks
Vorok.
up towards you and says, "What are you asking this chicken?"
Well, I asked him if it was a good prophecy or not.
Oh, he won't know. That's not for him to know.
Does he know anything?
What a chicken needs to know.
I'll just
Look at
keep
these
looking
three
at the
items.
chicken.
I have laid these choices in front of you, and each one of them is a more meaningful decision than you can imagine. Look at the items. Look at their nature.
Can
Discern what it is that I will read to you. If you
Can I-
truly understand that there can be meaning to simple objects,
I look to the oracle and I say, can I touch any of the items?
it is bad juju to touch any of these until you have decided on your path. For now,
Menojin
you
will
touch
just
with
give
your
a nod.
eyes.
So touching with my eyes, can I just inspect both the deck of cards and the handful of bones just
Sure.
to get like finer details out of them?
Investigation check, please. We'll do the cards first.
Okay.
You get up from your seated position and bring yourself closer, and...
That's a 20.
Okay. The cards are old. Old
Oh,
indeed.
I'm sorry, that's an 18. My bad.
Okay. They have clearly seen quite a bit of use, and as you look towards them, you see many which don't quite fit on each other properly because they have lost corners or have frayed edges. Though you can tell that the deck seems to be completely intact. Apart from that, as you look at the top of it and then look at the bottom, you find something curious. On the very top of it, there is some markings. And with your check, you actually know what it is. Give me 2 seconds.
Knowing things.
Knowing things.
That's what you get for eye touching.
In my notes right now, next to the live chicken, I just have written confused. That's all we know about the chicken. Poor chicken.
I
Okay.
was looking at that. Oh, never mind.
On the top of the card, you see a depiction of a dragon, and the dragon is depicted in an artistic style that betrays its origins. If you had to guess where this comes from, you would guess the land of Kinth.
Okay. Like the cards came from Kin.
Yes, they were clearly created by somebody there in the traditional style of their kind of art and everything like that. There's nothing written on it, but the way that the harsh lines have been drawn out and everything like that, it's clear that this is of dragonborn origin.
Right. Okay.
And make an investigation check for the bones.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Staring at the bones, you can see that they've been altered heavily, but you don't really garner anything else from that.
Okay. I looked at you, Darren. Darren. What do you make of these bones? I know you're rather fond of the cards, but I say we get as much of an idea about what these items are as we can.
Given my past,
Bones.
does this look like anything that like farmers like do to old bones?
Farm prophecies about the weather.
You can go ahead and roll investigation.
Do they look like any specific bones or just like shards?
That is a 17.
Okay. The appearance of the bones has been altered greatly, and it is quite difficult to tell from which animal they have come from. At this point, they have been altered so much that only the person who made them likely knows, and as you gaze upon them, Dudairn, you can see that markings have been pushed into the bones through some sort of carving implements. Some of them have been shaped into weird, strange, and obtuse symbols. One of them is like a strange sort of X, another one looks like a misshapen cross, a couple of them look like straight bones which have been sharpened out to one side. The whole collection of them, though, is rather interesting, and if you had to guess exactly where they come from, or from what animal, you're stuck. You can't quite place it. That being said, they seem to be quite clean, and are most certainly something that has been cared for very well over the years. That much you do garner. Unlike the cards, which have kind of been ravaged by time, these, if they are old, have been meticulously cared for.
Oracle,
He looks over towards you. Yes?
are you the one that carved these bones?
Oh, no. They came into possession of mine from my master, and to him, his master.
Kind of leaning forward, Ivan's gonna take a look at the bones. Can I roll something for it?
Oh,
Sure,
now he's got a
investigate.
horse in this race.
Uh-huh.
Before it was, I don't care, figure it out yourself. Now it's like, fuck.
Also keeping in mind that Ivan suspects these might be used for the augury spell, since he knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Question. This is more like a rules question.
Yep.
If you you just like do something long enough, like, can it be successful?
What do you mean?
Like say like investigation. If I'm taking a long time with something, does it matter
Oh.
what the roll is?
Now, in the rules, you get a huge bonus for taking your time. In Aleutian rules, I don't allow that because I think it's lame. Because it just means, okay, if the group has time, they can essentially accomplish anything, and they're all suddenly masterwork blacksmiths. So I usually don't use that. In certain circumstances, I might. Especially if you have, like, let's say, multiple days to work on something, I'll give you, like, advantage or flat bonuses, maybe. In this case, no.
Okay, gotcha.
Staring at these, what did you get there, Ivan?
That was investigation.
Yes.
8.
8. Okay. Looking at these, and with your clerical knowledge, you can tell that these bones would be certainly fitting for the augury spell. It could be that these were created by a cleric of some old time. As you look at them, though, and try and decipher their markings and everything, I'd like you to go ahead and roll religion.
Ooh.
Don't make that roll very often.
That'd be a 12.
Okay.
Yo.
Wait 2 seconds here.
1, 2.
Damn it! Give me like 30. So, as you stare at these, you notice something. There is most certainly some kind of writing on here. And what languages do you have?
Language.
Yes.
I have Common, Dwarvish, Celestial, and Draconic.
Ah. The language is lost to you, and on first inspection, you don't quite see it until you realize that some of these can be kind of put together. If you place that one next to that one, it makes a symbol almost, and you get the sense that these are meant to write something out. Though in the languages that you know, it seems kind of abstract and you're unable to quite place it. You get the sense that this is related to a religion in some way, just the way that they're shaped out, and the idea that these could be used for augury gives you that sort of feeling in your gut, but you're not sure to which god or from where, and the fact that you're from a different land doesn't really help.
Okay.
Can he determine the language by looking at it?
Looking at
Comprehend
it,
language?
you can go ahead and make an intelligence check to try and figure it out.
No, that's not a roll.
What happened there?
I don't know, just like let go of it. That's a 6.
It is lost to you.
Damn.
Out of curiosity,
Mhm.
would I be able to read the results as if these had been thrown for the augury spell?
Ah, you certainly could, though whether or not the old man will give them to you, who knows?
Wait,
Maybe
oh, no,
that's
I
what
mean-
he intends to
I
do.
wanna
Maybe he's going to augury for you.
Give me.
But yeah, if you're asking, like, are they worth 25 gold or whatever it is for the augury spell? Yes, absolutely.
No, I meant more along the lines of... Are these lying there or they're floating?
They're all floating there in, like, a pile in an area above the fireplace.
Are they moving while floating or are they static?
Yeah, they kind of shift about, but very
Okay.
sort of, like, languidly.
And he also said no touchy.
Yeah.
You can touch with your eyes.
Touch with your eyes.
Okay.
Bad
given,
juju to actually touch them. You have to choose your path first.
given what the oracle said, Metalturn is going to look at him again. You said you got these from your master and his master. Where did he come from?
My master came from the lands of Nomentar. Long, long time ago. He has passed since then, but I carry on his tradition.
I give just a solemn nod. And
Where-
I look to the chicken and I say, the chicken. Where did he come from?
I think it was a human farmer from around here some ways back.
See, it's a sign, you dare. Farmers, chickens. You a farmer, right?
I was a cattle rancher, yeah.
Cattle,
If I-
chicken, same thing.
Metalturn almost shocked by this a little bit. Like, what? If I may have a moment of your thought process, as it were, I go back around to the deck of cards and I point to it. I don't touch it. The deck of cards, they're old. They depict dragons. They likely come from Kinth. The bones from Nomentar. The chicken from Skyfall. I
Yes.
had to gather, I would say that is likely a direction, if you will, as to where these prophecies may lead.
Ah, perhaps.
Perhaps they have no significance, but it is something to consider.
What has significance and what doesn't?
Lies in the eyes of the beholder, assume. Not that kind of beholder.
Well, if we can't decide together, how about we draw straws?
Ah, leave it to chance. Perhaps that might
Leave-
guide you.
Fate to fate.
It's genius.
Whoever
Super into the idea.
Whoever gets the longest gets to pick?
I have the divining sticks here if you desire to use
The
them.
divining sticks.
You see the old man holds out another hand, this time towards a different shelf, and you watch as what appears to be a small piece of pottery with a bunch of sticks comes over towards you. He hovers it here for a moment, and then it comes gently to rest in his shaking hand. The sound of the sticks bouncing against one another and the clay pot fills the room. Well, is it this, or do you decide of your own accord?
Ivan, now that you've given some of the items a little bit more of a look, do you have any opinion? Fair enough. And Judarin, now that you know where all these items may lead, has that swayed you at all?
Not really.
And Vorok the chicken, yes?
Well, I don't feel like going to Nomentar, so not the bones.
Again, this is a possibility. Nothing certain, as it were. I say we leave it to chance.
Is it the sticks, then?
The sticks, the divining sticks.
Well,
you
it's
saying that out
Judean's
loud?
prophecy, or
No, not
Metal
saying that out
Tyr's
loud.
You're about to get slapped by an
prophecy.
old man. What's that, Warwick?
That is real person.
I was just saying, well, perhaps Judean should decide. It is his prophecy, or Metal Tyr's prophecy. I'm not sure at this point, but
it's my prophecy about him.
I
He
told
is,
you it belongs
the
to
folk.
all of you.
yes, then the Oracle is more right. It's really all of us. Judarin is our leader, so he tends to take a prominent spot in the prophecy, but it affects all of us.
This prophecy was put for just one of you. Truly, your whole group would not be here in front of my fire. Nobody
give a
finds
nod.
their way to my cave without some meaning beforehand.
I'll look to Judarin. If Vorok wishes to leave the decision to you, I would be fine with that. Ivan.
Sounds fine.
My decisions have not been the greatest lately.
That is true.
Everybody nods.
I would say we leave it to chance.
perhaps
then
we
I'll-
should choose the opposite of what Judean wants to choose.
I give a nod to Darren and a shake to Vorok, and I say, and I go up to the Oracle and I say, "May I?" Holding my hands out for the what is it? A clay jar? You said.
Yes, there's a small little like clay cup that holds all these sticks.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming they're all the same height.
They're all the same height.
Right. Obviously, longer, shorter. They're divining stick. So does he give it to me if I ask for it, or does he just tell me to pick?
Ah, it floats from his hand and hovers in front of you. He says, "Very well. If you leave it to chance, who knows what path will be laid before you."
Meneltiern gives that kind of like a thought for a second, and then picks one of the
Okay.
divining sticks.
Let's go ahead and roll for you.
Check in.
Okay. You pull out one of the sticks, and you can see that the bottom half of it has been colored with some sort of black ink or paint partway up. As you pull it out, the old man looks towards it and it says, "Not the shortest, but not the longest either." He moves over the clay pot to the next one in the circle, and it comes over towards you, Vorok.
Alright, I will reach in and take one out.
Okay. Well, shit. As you pull it out here, you see this one has no paint at all. And the old man says, the decision falls to you. The only one who had a gut feeling. Interesting. I see providence where others might see chance. What do you pick, Goliath? It seems the decision is yours. And you feel a tug, as if some force is attempting to pull the stick back from your hand.
I'll put my hands on my hips and stand proudly and say, I choose the chicken!
Do you let go of your stick, by the way, Meneltirn?
Yes.
Okay, so the two sticks float away and go into the cup, and as it floats back towards the old man, Vorok stands up triumphantly and declares his choice. The old man says, back to square one, are we? The sticks were needed only so that you could know what you already knew all along. Sticks work every time.
Meneltirn is not like giving him a look, but is like thinking like, that's a shit.
As he floats back the divining sticks of ultimate power, so too do the cards and the bones move away and eventually find their resting place on the different shelves. One over here, the other two over in this corner, and only the chicken is left. The old man slowly gets up to his feet. He's quite shaky, and you almost worry that he's going to fall for a second, but he kind of catches himself on the end of his cane here and supports his weight there. And as he sort of steps back away from the fire, you see he holds out a very, very shaken hand, and the chicken begins to float over towards him. And as it does, he hovers it down towards the ground, and then you all hear what sounds like an incredibly sharp blade being run along a whetstone. And you watch as the chicken is separated into its parts, killed in an instant by some sort of terrible magic. Its body falls limply to the ground, and it has a line that runs all the way from the bottom of its neck straight down, all the way to its tail, and its entrails seem to just fall out and spill from its severed ribcage onto the ground.
Oh no.
He stares down at it and kind of taps his cane along in different areas, making sure not to touch any of the blood or the entrails, but as though marking things. He taps over here towards one organ, goes, yes. I see. I see a sacrifice that must be made, should your group survive the coming times. See a group that must be given up. See. Troublesome indeed. Right now you have 3 decisions to make. Not the items I present before you, but 3 groups to side with. I tell you that as much as you may want to choose more than one, you must sacrifice, and only one can be chosen. You know of the 3 groups that I speak of. If you attempt to take more than one, I can assure you that failure lies ahead. That is my prophecy.
Meneltirn gives a nod.
He looks up, and he stares over towards you, Vorok, and he says, well, are you satisfied with your prophecy? Do you think you picked well?
I don't suppose you want to let me know what the other 2 are, and then I can decide.
You're new to this, aren't
you? Yes, I haven't dabbled in magic very much, or at all.
Well, I think that there is much magic ahead of you here. You should get used to it. He turns towards the rest of the group to see what you have to say. The blood seeps out from the body of this chicken around on the floor.
Meneltirn will just give a nod and say, thank you, Oracle. We will deliberate on this further.
Very well. I wish you all safe travels on your way back to town.
I want to be the last one out, And right as they're leaving, can I turn back and quickly go up to him and say, I have a question for you if you don't mind.
Very well, ask, but I may not answer.
Much in the same way when Metaltyrn was pulling out his papers on the prophecy, I'm gonna pull out some scrolls and some papers and lay them out on his table. Have you ever heard of Goliath becoming a stone giant? I've been researching for years. And if you look at the papers, there's a picture of me, and then some arrows going up, and then a picture of a stone giant.
Wow, okay. Let's see here. Vorak, I would like you to make a persuasion check, please.
God. Oh no! 0.
0.
He looks to you and he says,
Is that our
"All
first
must
0?
have goals and aspirations." And then he just starts to clean up the chicken on the ground. He has like what looks to be some sort of broom, and he begins to push the entrails into the fire pit.
I'll probably think hard on his answer, that there's some kind of philosophical meaning behind it, pack up my pictures, and join the group.
Okay.
As we're walking out of the the cave, Metaltyrn is gonna look to Darren and Ivan. So the 3 groups, and I hold up my hands, like doing a finger each time I name something. The Druids, the Spire, maybe. What else? I've had trouble thinking about it. Maybe Valoo?
I think the 3rd group may be the Brass City.
The Brass City? How? We've barely been there. We haven't been there.
Nevertheless, the past couple times we've been awake, our thoughts have tended towards it.
Yes, but only for Mavrin and Westry.
Well,
At least as of late.
wait, what were the other 2 you mentioned? The
The
Druid,
Druids.
Spire.
I feel like the Druids are the obvious one. The Spire, I feel, is less obvious and maybe only a possible option. Although they are, well, a major thorn in our side as of the moment. And Valoo, I was thinking.
How can we be sure that he even meant 3 groups we know?
That is also a possibility. Valoo is my least certain of the 3. Perhaps he means Jack. Perhaps. Like you said, we have yet to meet them. Ivan, what do you say on the matter?
Don't know yet.
Metaltyrn will give a nod.
I will look up at the memory of the sky.
The memory of.
I can't
I
see the
know.
sky.
I know. I just.
It's pretty fucking sad.
In any case, we'll know the decisions when they arise.
Metaltyrn gives a nod. Let us return to Valoo then.
I shout back into the cave. Vorak, we're leaving.
He comes back up to the top. You guys ask him anything?
What did you ask the Oracle, Vorak?
Well, I just asked him about stone giants, you know. He gave me some kind of riddle for an answer. I believe I must decipher it.
Ah, yes, you must. And Metaltyrn turns away and continues walking.
Okay. Is everybody traveling back?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
idea.
Alright, let's see. The weather seems to lighten up, and what little bit of snow that would normally be falling from the sky seems to disappear. So does the chill. Not enough to make this a normal day. It's still clearly winter, but you can see much further than normal. And what little bits of wind come through do their efforts to move the snow, but they don't buffet against you in a horrible way, bringing cold to your bones. Things seem to be looking on the up and up. After record time of 3 days' travel, you make it into town.
Yay.
As you
And
get there-
rations to spare.
Yeah, so make sure you subtract your rations. It seems as though
I
the
ran out
town
at some
is
point.
much as you left it. The size seems to have not increased or decreased. It is but its couple hundred of people ever since the mass exodus. And you can see the familiar guards and Jack's tent off in the distance and everything like that. There is still the temple to the druids towards the north, etc. What do you guys want to do?
I head for Jack's tent.
Okay. Is everybody going there?
Yeah.
Okay. Making their way over to Jack's tent, your group eventually finds himself speaking with a guardsman who summons Jack from the tent. He steps out and he goes, it's good to see you all. How was your travel?
See you. All things considered, okay. What day is it, Jack, by the way?
He pauses for a second as he ponders, and then tells you that it is... It is the 12th of summer.
And we had,
Okay.
what, 7 days of travel, right? 4 there, 3 back?
Let's see here.
Well, yeah, we left on the 3rd, so...
Yeah, so 7 days of travel would bring us to the 10th, 2 days, mystery, Great Souls bullshit, and we're at the 12th. Unless that's incorrect.
Seems to be the case.
Okay. I say, okay. Not too much time lost then. Well, how goes the town?
It's been fairly quiet. Not too much going on. Been working, trying to puzzle over this spell, but I can't seem to come up with anything.
I wonder if... I don't know, Jack. It really is rather a predicament.
Did you get any useful information from this oracle you were seeking out?
We did. He let us choose between 3 prophecies, 3 possible fates that follow or are ahead of our group, as it were. The prophecy that was read to us, told us of a great sacrifice that needs to be made in a group that must be given up. 3 decisions or groups to side with, as he put it, and that we must choose only one lest something awful happen.
This oracle didn't charge you anything, did he?
Meneltiern kind of chuckles. No. He's a feeble man in the living out the rest of his days until he eventually passes, which I imagine will be soon.
Well, at least he didn't charge you for his nonsense.
Nonsense.
Don't think that I mean to insult your profession, but it seems almost purposefully vague. Like it could apply to anybody. I've never
Yes,
been
and
much
I
for
would
fortune
say
telling.
same thing too, if it were not that there are, well, some rather obvious options at our feet. The
Yes, so.
druids to the forest, the spire to the west, and an unknown party who we have yet to agree on who it is.
Well, I don't think I can be of much help with that.
That's quite all right. I'm glad that we got the information that we were seeking.
Hey, what's Jack's demeanor through this thing? Does he like get uncomfortable at any point when you're talking about the prophecy?
Sure, make an insight check.
May I
My
as well?
rolls today. Oh God, 3.
Jack seems standoffish, but for what reason, you're not sure.
And can I also
Mhm.
look at his demeanor?
Do roll, please.
Ah, 5.
Same to you.
Is everything all right, Jack?
Yes, no, it's... Things are fine.
And Miltern gives a nod. All right. Well, and he turns around to Dudarin. What to next?
I haven't the faintest idea. I was kind of hoping that the Oracle would have given us some sort of direction.
He has, for the most part. Although these decisions do not lie at our feet now, they will sometime in the future. Keeping in mind his words, everything we do from now on should prove to be useful, I think. I look to Vorok this time. Vorok,
Yes, Middleton.
perhaps we should speak with the druids, see if anything has happened with what was it? Some council that you went to? Maybe there's some news.
Jack pipes up at this point, and he says, well, if you're looking for something to do, it might be a good idea to find out what became of our 2 rogue wizards.
That is why I just fear that they are far too ahead of us at this point. Although we should keep that in mind, yes.
In any case, I'm going to get back to my work if you don't mind. I have more papers to read through.
Meneltern gives a nod and goes to exit the tent.
He gives you a nod as you guys step out. What do you want to do?
When we're at
Middleton wants-
earshot, I'm just gonna say to the group, I think the third group might be Jack.
As did I. I think of all the alliances we have kept, he has been our greatest ally.
Yes, but he is the weakest of the 3. We've tried to build this town, and anytime we make progress, something happens, and we're back to where we started.
Is that
Bad
his
signs.
fault? Is that his fault, you suggest?
Well, if we're choosing between one of 3, I don't think we should be going with the weakest.
Let's speak with the druids.
We could see if they're here, but until we've done something that shows that we are allies of them, I can't imagine we'll get much out of them.
We will see.
Are you headed to the garden then?
Yeah,
Middle
I guess we'll
tier
take a look
is.
there.
Okay.
I am sitting that one out.
Okay. What are you doing, Dudarin?
I think I will go back to camp and
Think about everything.
yeah,
Okay.
About
it's my
all your
thought.
decisions.
Your familiar
Recover.
tents are here, and so is the fire pit. And if you want, you can start that up and sit in the warmth and think about everything that's happened, while the 3 go off towards the little temple off to the north.
Ivan's also going to be going back to camp.
Okay. Do the 2 of you chat about anything while the other 2 go off? Speaking to Ivan and Dudarin.
Does Ivan have anything he wishes to talk about?
No, Ivan's just going to keep himself, look over his gear, make sure it's not damaged in any way.
Okay. So, at this point, you guys make your way over and find that, once again, the area is fairly deserted, save for a couple of people that look to be regular townsfolk, though they tend to the garden in the outer ring of this little temple that you built so many days ago. Towards the inner room, you see Kassan, the familiar face who seems to be tending to what appears to be a cherry tree, which has grown into the wall.
Oh, hello, Kusan. It's good to see you.
He turns around, and a smile crosses his face as he sees Vorok. He says, Vorok, it's good to see you again. How are you? Was your trip fruitful? Did the Oracle give you some help?
Well, it seems that we've got a decision to make. That there are 3 groups, and we must choose one of them to be allied with.
How strange.
Yes, I for one believe they're talking about you and the Druids.
Think I'm one of those groups?
Well, I think you're the group that we should be allied with.
Oh, I see. Well, I appreciate the kind words, Vorok. I hope that our friendship lasts for a long time. But I know that the words of the exile can be cryptic at times.
Did you say he's exiled? What do you mean?
Yes, well, every man has his story. The Oracle didn't always live in those hills. Heard tales of his previous life.
Well, what kind of tales?
From what I've heard, Half-Elf used to be a powerful oracle for a group of knights towards the south. Legend has it that, well, he ignored a prophecy that he had read. Through ignoring it, was not able to see as his knight's order turned against him, and he was forced to flee out into the woods. He's never returned. I don't know what's happened of the knights either since then. Though I can't imagine good things, given that they no longer have their guiding force. They may not even exist anymore.
We definitely didn't see any knights out there.
Did these knights have a name?
Yes, they did. Let me see, can I remember?
Please, Kasan.
Strong 9. He says, no, I can't quite place it.
That's too bad. To the south, you say, though.
Yes, either John, maybe Roche. Roche would make more sense. They have quite a few famous orders of knights down there. Can't imagine what they're up to these days.
An agreeing nod.
So...
It's rather interesting to hear. Is there any word from the druids who remain in the forest, or any of this council that I heard had met?
Well, they've been silent as of late. I continue to take disciples and teach them what I can, if they have the gift. The few in town now follow the old ways, which is good, because without the good berries, it would be difficult to survive. I think that you're going to do just fine.
Do I know what he's talking about when he says the old ways?
Ah. By that, you know that means druidic practices, but even to you and your arcane knowings, the druids are a little bit of an enigma.
Right. Okay. I just give an agreeing nod, like, yes. Well, thank you, Kasan. I think that's all I wish to discuss at the moment. I will return to my camp.
Okay. So you turn to leave.
A bow and leave.
Vorok, are you staying, or are you heading back to camp as well?
I'll just talk him for another minute. I'll just say, Kasan, I'm sorry that I've not figured anything out yet to show the druids that we'd like to be allies. I'm still working on it.
Oh, don't worry, Vorok. Perhaps it's something that just requires time.
I don't suppose there's been any trouble lately from the spire, or those skeletons, or things from the plane of fire, or anything else.
Or...
There's 200 other problems.
that we've possibly created.
He pauses for a second and then says, No, Vorok, I think things are calm in the forest, at least for now. There are murmurings of distant goings-on, but nothing here. Say, I have a question. Did you see exactly what kind of prophecy was read to you when you spoke with the exile?
Well, I mean, he killed the chicken and looked at its insides.
Oh,
Yes, I'm not familiar with prophecies. I was quite shocked when he did it.
Do you happen to remember... no, it's... Well...
Remember what, Kassan?
It's nothing. It seems as though you have a grim path laid before you. Sacrifice is not always an easy one to make, but if that is your prophecy, then so be it.
Does he look like... I'm gonna blow this insight roll, but does he look really concerned when I tell him about that chicken, or does he just...
Yeah, roll insight.
Alright, how low can I go? Oh my god.
Pretty damn low.
Uh,
You're
So
not
that's
sure
what
what to make of it. It seems as though Kassan pauses for a moment to stare at a plant or perhaps a portion of the wall, and he thinks on something deeply. However, you're not able to really pick out what that might be or how he feels about it, but it's clear that he's deep in thought. He turns back to you and he says, "Very well, Vorak. I should get back to my gardening."
yes, and I should get back to my party. Good to see you, friend.
You as well. Farewell.
And I'll head back to the camp.
Okay. He gives you a bow as you give a bow and head off, and you all eventually meet back up at the camp. It appears that Ivan and Darren have been seated here and have started a fire. They sit quietly as they look over their gear and ponder, perhaps, who knows, maybe they're just resting their weary bones. As you guys come back towards them, what do you guys do?
As Metaltiern approaches the camp, or like gets to the outer rim of the campfire, he says, "So, the plane of fire it is then?" Looking back and forth to Darren and Ivan.
What?
Mavrin, Westry, we must... Well, we have to go after them at some point.
I suppose so.
Looking over to Darren now. To Darren.
It can't be avoided. I don't know, there's too much in my mind at the moment.
Metaltiern gives a nod. Perhaps we should, just take some time to think, then. Yes? What time is it, by the way, Illusion?
You arrived in town a little bit past the early morning, and it is likely getting around to 11, 12 o'clock, that kind of thing. The sun can be seen up overhead.
Right. If we are going to go, I would suggest we leave soon, lest we not waste a day.
I think, with all of you here at the campfire, this would be a good time to take a quick 5 or 10 minute break while you guys ponder what it is that you want to do. You've been given a strange prophecy, some weird information, and you have a couple of things at the ready. We'll take a little step away, and everyone can go to the bathroom and all that, and we'll come back in 5 or 10.
Sounds good.
Who's carrying all the rations?
Yeah, I don't have any. I ate the rest of mine.
Sam.
I have 3.
I mean, Ivan has 19. But...
Acquiring food is probably the first priority.
Maybe Metaltiern will go back and try to learn Good Berry.
Dude, I'm gonna do that as well.
Hey, Vorak, look what I can do. Meow, meow.
I was taught it by a unicorn.
Get punched in the face.
Just fucking laid out. Alright, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna be right back too.
Grab and drink.
Yeah, also BRB.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
So, what should we do next?
Either learn Goodberry or find food.
Hmm. See if that merchant decided to stay in town or not.
Doubtful. He's still in town. He's dumber than I thought.
Very true.
Every time I run into an issue with like my code, and my girlfriend just goes, "Punch it in the face."
You know, that is true. Most problems can be solved by punching it in the face.
If it had a face. After we're done playing it, I'm gonna have to find some like tape and fix my headset.
What happened?
Like the cushions for on the ears, like have like the seam busted a while back,
Oh, okay.
and I'm just instead of like trying to sew it back together, I'm just gonna like put tape on it.
Tape fixes everything.
Well, electrical
Specifically,
tape.
duct tape.
Nah, electrical tape. It looks nicer.
That is true.
Of course, there's like electrical duct tape. So
The best of both worlds.
yes. I mean, if you have a product that even NASA can't deny how good it is, then
Exactly. And I mean, between duct tape and WD-40, I mean, what else do you really need?
I mean, you need a good hammer.
I mean, I feel like duct tape can do just as good a job.
I mean, that's the hammer's for percussive maintenance.
Percussive maintenance. And if you ever need to, you know, kill someone with blunt force trauma.
Yeah. See, I mean, think like you WD-40 them to distract them, and you duct tape their over their mouth, their hands and feet together.
And then hammer time.
Yeah.
This got violent very quickly.
What are you talking about? No violence is being discussed. We're simply talking about how to fix a transmission
Exactly. With duct tape
and a hammer.
and a hammer. Transmission, damn, that's expensive. I mean,
My
if you
ne-
don't fix it yourself, that is. Even then, it's still expensive.
My neighbor's old car was like some stupid like 2005 Ford,
Mm-hmm.
like, and we had to replace the carburetor on it,
Right.
which was in a place the carburetor should not be.
Yeah, Ford kind of does that. I have a Ford Ranger, the whatchamacallit, the spark plugs. To get to them, you have to go up through the wheel well, and then use like an angled. That was the worst thing I've ever had to do on that truck.
Well, to get to the carburetor, we would have had to like actually remove the entire engine if we weren't like stupid with it.
What?
Yeah, not joking.
I feel like that is just a poorly designed car.
Yeah,
Sort
he was even like looking up like tutorials on like YouTube on how to fix it, and it's like, dude was like, oh, so you just open up your hood and it's right there, so you take it out, and we're like, that's fucking wrong. It's way down there, like for 2 days straight. What? Oh, thank you. For 2 days straight, we had like our arms like all the way down in the engine block,
Oh my god.
trying to remove it with a fucking like wrench. We couldn't see what we were doing either.
Mm-hmm. So who knows what you were unscrewing?
I mean, we eventually got it. I don't remember how we got like the replacement in there, but
Right. God damn.
it ran. That's what
Ford
matters.
needs better engineers.
I mean, it was. The whole process was Ford tough.
Mm-hmm. Ford tough. Means more than you think it does. It'll never fall apart because you can't take it apart.
I return.
Ah!
Ah.
Ah!
Did anybody come up with a good plan?
No, we were just talking about
I just got back. I don't know that we've talked about a plan yet.
duct tape and WD-40 carburetors.
So what's the plan?
Find rations or learn how to cast Goodberry.
That's part 1. Part 2 is a question mark. Part 3 is profit.
Slash death.
Slash death.
We're not sure which one it is yet.
Slash rolling new character.
I've already built mine. I'm fine.
I haven't even considered it yet.
Well, considering Dude Aaron should have been dead like 2 months ago.
That's the best part about Dude Darren. He's not dead even though he should be.
Well, everybody's back. Shall we?
I think we shall.
All right. So we shall.
Shall we shall?
And we're back. Turning. Everybody sits round the campfire. 2 of you have just returned from a brief chat over at the temple, and the rest of you have been tending to your gear, taking a moment to see if your swords are still sharp or your armor still ready for the next battle. You guys chat about. What's the plan here? What do you do?
So, Dude Darren, what next?
Well, before we go anywhere, we need to solve our ration issue.
I suppose that would be a good idea. The druids at the temple could attempt to teach us Goodberry.
What's
They've
that?
had Goodberry.
Oh,
They,
they're teaching people how to. Interesting.
Only those with the gift. I do not have it.
Well, perhaps one of us does. That would be something useful to have. Perhaps we can see if that merchant decided to stay in town. Perhaps he had some rations on him that he could sell.
Either case would be good. We're definitely going to need supplies.
I didn't like him very much, but I suppose. So, we shall attempt Goodberry, and if that fails, we can attempt to purchase rations. After that, Mavrin and Westry, yes?
You mean the plane of fire?
Well, yes, looking for our two wizard friends.
But why?
Well, we owe it to them after the trouble we caused them. And
But what are we going to do when we find them? If they're in town somewhere, we can't bring them back.
I'm sorry?
Well, if we
town
bring them
where?
out, well, they're trying to find the Brass City or the Fire Dwarves. If they've found shelter there, well, then they're safe. I don't know why we need to find them.
The plane of fire isn't exactly what I would call safe.
Well, what are you going to do when you find them?
Well, figure out a way that we could possibly get them out of there. Perhaps we can bring them back here, let them take the roads.
And
See
be
how they fare
attacked by the
there.
Spire. They can't come back here.
The spire isn't here at the moment.
Well, you know they'll come back.
We can assume they will come back. We do not know how many resources they have left. I'm sure this winter has been hard on them as well.
Well, I think the Spire will have more than 2 people.
Yes, but
We have 4, and we have not anywhere close to the resources they have.
right, but that's not the point I'm making. Even if they have the resources, they still have to make the trip all the way from Novaria to here.
So what is your solution for them being wanted wizards?
My
Unless you
sol-
can get the Spire to stop chasing them, they're going to be consistently on the run.
Yes, but better to be on the run in Skyfall than on the run in the Plane of Fire.
Are you
Wouldn't
sure about
you
that?
agree?
I don't think the Spire will find them there.
Possibly. Although the Plane of Fire, like I said, isn't exactly what I would call safe. Nevertheless, we should still see if we cannot meet up with them.
Well, I'll go with whatever
The
Dudaire
hooting.
says, but I find it pointless to journey to the Spire to find 2 people that are wanted criminals. We have things to be concerned of in Velu,
Like
not chasing wizards through the Plane of Fire.
Vorak?
Well, choosing one of the 3 sides. If we
That
go
choice-
and go after the wizards, that's perhaps one of the 3 groups.
Perhaps, although at the very least, the choice has not revealed itself to us yet.
I don't think you can expect fate to give you all the answers.
No,
At
but
some point
will
we'll
know
have to
when it
choose
comes.
something, and I think the Plane of Fire is a very bad idea.
Whatever the case, I still do not feel comfortable leaving them there to whatever the Plane of Fire may bring them. It seems unfair.
It also seems unfair to abandon Velu for 2 wanted wizards.
Who helped keep Velu safe for
The Druids
Months.
helped keep Velu safe by protecting us from a threat brought by the wizards.
They kept the portal at bay.
Yes, and when those other people from the Spire came, they were finished off by the Druids. Tried to destroy our town, and, well, the Druids protected us.
The divining sticks of ultimate power.
And us, man.
the druids were not the only one. Let us not forget that Jack helped and that we were the ones who weakened them initially.
Well, in any case, I do think it's a wasted cause in the Plane of Fire.
There's
I feel
much
that if we
possibly
journey
gain.
after the wizards were abandoning Valu, I don't
Not
know that we'll make
necessarily.
it back here.
If we are able to make some kind of contact with the Azur, perhaps they could help us, lend us some kind of technological aid. They are, from what I understand, very advanced. If there's some kind of agreement that we can come to with them, perhaps they would be able to help Valu, in addition to helping us find Mavern and Westry.
So your choice of allies is the Fire Dwarves. Who do you intend to sacrifice for them, then?
Vorak,
I believe the point of the prophecy was that you can't be allies with everyone. We have to make a choice.
And if the choice is saving Valu, then I will do that in any way possible. Although I will not do it only to appease the druids, if that is what you are suggesting. They are not the only option.
Can I silently make my way out of camp?
Back up,
Sneakily?
hands up.
Yeah, sneakily.
Sure, make a stealth check.
This is a disadvantage, though. Where's my stealth? That's +0.
oh,
So that's a 6.
Whether or not you choose to interrupt him is your own business, but everyone can plainly see that Dudarin is leaving the camp. He shuffles off to the side of his little seat here by the campfire and attempts to leave without making much noise, though it's clear from the clang of his armor and the jiggles here that he is trying to get away.
Seeing as Dudarin's leaving, I'm gonna try. Metal Jane's gonna try to use this as his out. Yes, Dudarin, I think we should go.
is Vorak standing right now?
Yes?
Ivan's gonna sit down on like a bench or chair nearby, pat the seat next to him. Vorak, why don't you have a seat?
Well, sure, Ivan, what is it?
And Metal Tyrann is gonna follow Dudarin, presumably to the temple to learn Goodberry.
It appears, Dudarin, that though you have left the camp and it falls behind you, that you're not alone, and Meneltyran is coming with you.
So, to the temple then?
Hmm.
Metal Tyrann nods.
Okay. Are you two going to the temple?
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, back at the campfire.
Vorak, I do believe in prophecies and fate, but you ever heard the term self-fulfilling prophecy before?
No, I'm not too, knowledgeable about prophecy.
Comes about when a prophecy is made and it's fairly vague. People tend to believe the prophecy and follow it, and as a result, they cause the prophecy itself to become true. By you choosing to abandon two of the groups that you would see as friends, you could cause the prophecy to be true when, in reality, we might not need to make that choice at all. Why let fate choose for you? Choose your own path, what feels right.
That is what I'm trying to do.
But no. You believe the prophecy says you should abandon two of the three groups, so you choose now to abandon two of the three groups. Why abandon any?
I don't choose to abandon, I just know that it said that there would be a sacrifice. If we march off into the Plane of Fire, we could very well be sacrificing something, and it's not a hasty decision to be made.
By no means. But sacrifice could mean anything. The groups could mean anything. Just don't want you to read too far into it and make decisions solely because you think fate has chosen it for you, and not because you don't think it's the right decision.
Well, I think it was me that chose it. I did choose the chicken.
You did choose the chicken. And think, there were 2 other prophecies there that we didn't hear. Perhaps you're not following the decisions of one of those prophecies. You could never know.
Well, I'll follow the group wherever it goes, but if something is to come of Valu because of this trip, know that Vorok had the sense of mind to know it was coming.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. Meanwhile, off in the distance, while Vorok is being counseled on the paralysis of ambiguity, 2 of you make your way over to the temple. And as you step up, Kassan sees the both of you and looks in your direction and smiles. What do you guys want to say?
Son,
Yes, Dudarin, what can I do for you?
could you see if we have this gift Vorok spoke of?
Oh, yes. Please, come close. And he reaches out a hand to place on the side of your face, as if he's examining lines around different parts of your cheekbones and your chin and whatnot. I'd like the both of you to please roll a wisdom check. Straight wisdom.
Oh boy.
So good at those.
16.
Okay.
1.
He walks over towards you, Dudarin, and he sits there for a moment, carefully examining your face. And eventually, he pauses and turns to you and says, I'm sorry, Dudarin. Don't have the gift. He turns over to Meneltirn and holds you for but a moment and just goes, no, sorry.
I'm sorry? No?
No, neither of you have the gift.
How... I'm confused by the process, I suppose.
I see. Trust me, Meneltirn, I have seen many come and go, and I've been with this order for some time. I can tell when somebody is ready to learn and when they are not.
So be it then.
It is not meant as an insult or anything. Please don't take any offense. If you had the gift, I would welcome you with open arms, but it's simply what it is. I don't see that you are ready.
Meneltirn just gives a silent nod.
Okay.
Thank you anyway. On to plan B.
Pulls out a torch.
Oh, God.
What are you gonna do, Dudarin? What is plan B exactly?
Buying ration.
Buying rations. Okay, so are you going off to the merchant?
And
Where we-
as once we get out of earshot of the temple, I lean over to Dudarin. I think that guy's full of shit.
Are you a druid?
No.
Then how
I
do
think
you know?
anybody can see that I have more than enough magical prowess to dabble in the trivial things that they do.
I don't think it's about having magical prowess, Meneltirn. Maybe you just don't have it because you're a high elf. And I hush down when I say that.
And Meneltirn, looking around feverishly, did anybody hear that?
As you look around, you're in the space between the temple and the camp, and so it's empty. You're fine.
Watch your volume when you say things like that. And I don't
hushed.
think that has anything to do with it.
Are you sure?
Why would it?
I don't know. I don't understand magic.
I can see that. Let us continue to the merchant, shall we?
Okay. You guys wander off towards the merchant's area there, and you
Where
find
he
that
was.
the camp is empty, unfortunately.
God damn it!
It seems
Yay.
that in the mass exodus that you have suffered, a couple of potentially important people have come and gone.
Is the calligrapher still here?
Oh my god. Are you gonna search through town for the calligrapher?
No, because Metal Gear doesn't give a shit if the calligrapher's there. I want to know if the calligrapher's there.
The calligrapher's the key.
He's the group we must ally ourselves with.
No, that's the prophecy. Seek out the one they call the calligrapher.
Is there
Backup
anything like
character is calligrapher.
left? I'm
Is
sorry.
what?
My backup character is the calligrapher.
Is there anything like left over in the camp, or did they pack up everything?
Ah, you can see the depressed areas on the ground where once there were campfires and different tents. But that's the only evidence that there were people here. Seems they have packed up and gone.
Damn. Seems our only hope is Ivan.
Guess so.
Back to camp then?
Back to camp then.
Okay. As you make your way back to camp, you find that Ivan and Vorok are seated there by the fire, finishing up a conversation.
Ivan?
Hmm?
I think, well, we should go to the temple, and I think you should see if you have, and Meneltiern puts up his hands and air quotes, the gift.
Uh-huh.
It appears
Alright.
that Dudarin and I do not. I do not know what criteria this is. I figured Vorok might actually have it. Dudarin, I was skeptical. Myself being magically prowess, I'm hoping you, somehow, by some stroke of luck or what appears to be arbitrary entirely in nature.
I see. Well, Orok, our main point was don't make every decision in life based on prophecy. Do exercise your free will, I guess.
Well, I had only heard of prophecies recently. I've only been following it with Meneltiern and Dudairn and you. I think I understand, Ivan. Thank you.
Quotes by
I
Ivan.
hope so.
It'd be great if Ivan was like, yeah, about that. Stop paying attention to Meneltiern's bullshit either.
Hey! At least my shit points us somewhere.
So, with the two returning,
Somewhere.
do you guys get up and follow them?
Yeah.
Okay. The full group makes their way back, and Kassan sees you all return, and he says, "Oh my. Well, what can I do for you all again?"
I look to Ivan.
I suppose I've come to see if I have, looking at Meneltiern, the gift.
You won't have it if you don't believe, Ivan.
It's like fairy dust. You
Says-
gotta believe.
Very well. Ivan, make a wisdom check, please. Straight wisdom. Oh.
That's a 12.
After a moment, he says, "I'm sorry. It appears that none of you have the gift. Luckily, there have been a couple in town who have, but it's not a very common thing."
Let's see.
Oh, Ivan, we should also mention that the merchants are no longer in town, so you were kind of our last hope on this.
The priest here looks to you, and Kassan says, "What seems to be the matter?"
Well, we have no means of creating our own food without the spell Goodberry and without a merchant to purchase rations from. Traveling outside of the city will prove to be rather a predicament.
Have you spoken with the rangers? They've been hunting over the last few days.
Table talk, I forgot they existed.
Yeah, same.
in character. Oh, it hadn't occurred to me. I've
Yes, I
Got
rather
wrapped.
forgot they existed.
just we've just been so wrapped up in everything else.
It's understandable.
Where are the Rangers at the moment?
Likely out on a hunt, or perhaps you'll find them throughout the town.
Do they not have a central area where they stay?
It seems there's a few camps in town they like to stay at, but they do venture out into the forest for days on trips when they are headed out for hunting.
Mm-hmm. Well then, I suppose we will search the town for them.
I wish you all the best of luck.
Do we find any?
Let's see.
Ah,
Nat 1, nice.
fuck.
As you wander into town and ask around and look to see if you can see these familiar faces, you are turned away over and over by people who tell you all the same thing. Either I haven't seen them, or yeah, I went into the forest a couple days ago.
That's rather unfortunate. So, what do we do now? Perhaps Jack has rations?
It's the only option we have left, other than just going out and trying to find food ourselves.
I mean, the trip to the Azure City isn't very far. Merely half a day's walk or so.
We've only got the one scroll, though.
Indeed. What level is is tongues?
I think it's a level 3 spell, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, it's 3.
Can you copy down from spells higher than you have a level?
You can
You wouldn't
write
be able to
down
use it.
spells that are too high for you to cast, and then hopefully cast them later. Yeah, you can write them down. So,
And in transcribing the spell, does that get rid of the scroll?
no, it does not. But it does cost money to write it down.
Right. Well, I have money. So
150 gold, unless you are versed in that school, in which case it's half that cost.
Oh, what is tongues? Damn it! No. It's divination, and I'm enchantment. But I have 177 gold.
Ah, nice. So yeah, for 150 you could jot that down if you can get a hold of the ink. And it seems that Jack seems to have some. I think he even gave you a bit for free way back in the day.
Right.
Before it
So it's-
became apparent that he had made a horrible mistake trusting you guys to give him his legacy.
Hey. I have one vial of magic ink, so I'm assuming that
That's 50
covers
gold.
50 gold, so I
Yep.
only need 100. And it takes 6 hours.
Yes.
So
Are you headed to Jack's then?
yeah.
Okay. The group finds what appears to be bad luck around every turn. Things are not looking good when you get over towards Jack, and you ask him for rations. He turns to your group and tells you he has a few he can spare, but not much. It seems to be salted meat, packed in a way so as to point to it coming from the Rangers over the past few days, in fact. As he hands these over to you, your group gets a hold of... I'm gonna go ahead and roll here for luck. That's not too bad. 10 rations, exactly. You can distribute them as you please. He tells you, I was going to hold on to these and use them as payment for some of the guard, or maybe give them to those in need, but I think you guys are best to have these.
Thank you, Jack. As well, do you have any magic ink left? I do have some gold as reimbursement so that you can purchase more.
He tells you, I have plenty, but I don't know when the next time I'll be able to buy any, so...
Well, I say, well, I'll give you the gold anyway, so that you may replenish your stock. I do need 2 vials, though.
What is this for, exactly?
Well, I have the spell scroll of tongues, something that I'd, well, rather not wish to lose in the future, although I do not believe I can cast it on my own yet.
See? Well, you'll be a proper diplomat in no time. Useful skill. Here. He hands you the 2 ink bottles, and after rummaging around, stows away your gold that you give him. He says, "There you are."
Thank you, Jack. And I look to the group, well, shall we head off soon then, or shall we perhaps wait a day, see if the Rangers return?
Well, if we're heading hopefully into the Brass City, maybe there'll be a merchant that speaks a language we know.
Well, from what I hear, there are those who speak common in the Brass City. Perhaps. What time is it again, Illusion? I'm sorry.
At this point, probably late afternoon.
Late afternoon. Well, should we head off now then? It is rather late.
I say we head out now. We have rations, so we should be fine for a couple of days of unforeseen circumstances.
I do need a couple hours to get the spell down, however. If we wish to keep it, just real quick, once a spell scroll is used, it essentially dissolves or burns or something.
Yeah, it fades from existence once it's been used.
So there is that to consider as well.
Are you gonna wait till the evening so we can transcribe it and then head off to go and get them?
Or are we going to go right away?
Oh, if we need time for you to transcribe the spell, then we should take the time.
Excellent. Metal Tyrn heads off to camp.
Returning to camp, you go ahead to give time to Metal Tyrn that he might write down the spell. Is anyone doing anything during these few hours, or are you just going to hang around the camp?
It's 6 hours, I believe. Can people get a full rest in 6 hours?
Close to it.
Because it's what? It's 6 hours of actual sleep and 2 hours of like light
I'd say you
activity.
could get a long rest from it, just because you haven't really done anything intensive in town for the time you've been here.
So what would I say? In the interest of not gaining a level of exhaustion, perhaps everybody should.
Okay.
I don't know if they will or not, but
So, it seems nobody has anything, and 6 hours pass, and you manage to write this down. You can now add to your spells, your spell book, the spell Tongues.
although I have no levels to cast.
Not use it, but one day, perhaps, it'll be available to you. With
If
that,
we
it is
live.
now late evening, and the landscape changes to that of many fires throughout the different camps. You guys headed for the portal?
Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
Making your way down to the portal, you can see that there are a couple of regular guards that now watch in its place. The crystals have been put into the little areas here that you have drawn out, and at your request, they move them out of the way and the portal starts to grow larger that you might go through. As the group travels through, you can see the large ruins of the town stretching out and the horrid landscape that kind of surrounds the area. Are you going for the city of the Azur under the mountain?
Indeed.
Yeah. I would like everybody to roll perception.
Why? Why you gotta do this, Solution?
Which die is gonna fuck me over?
17.
15.
19.
Wow.
16.
You all rolled rather well. You only
But
travel
can
for...
do Darren see it? That is the question.
I assume yes, or you told me not to roll.
Good point.
As you make your way forward, there's evidence that somebody else has been in the town. And as you wander out from this area around the portal and start to go down a couple of city streets, it's clear that there's some strange sort of tracks that go to and fro between the streets, and they don't seem like normal footsteps. Instead, they're like trails. Off in the distance, all of you see, further down the road, a couple of blocks away, what appears to be these strange fiery snake creatures, which you had battled with sometime in the past.
How many?
Right now, you see what looks like 3 of them that move through the streets, and they're far away enough that they don't notice you. If you don't call out to them or anything, they eventually just continue moving by and kind of go from one building to the other.
I think we should do our best to make it around them. Let's not waste time on trivial matters.
Yes, there's no clue how many more there might be just hanging around.
Indeed. And as the portal is mostly closed, well, there's no way for them to get in.
Sneak around them?
Okay. Everybody, please make a stealth check.
Oh yeah, Stealth Goliath, Stealth Fighter, Stealth Paladin. Well, I got a 20, modded.
Damn, I got a 3.
Nice.
Got a. That's a modded 1.
Well, you're all incredibly lucky because on their perception check, they rolled a nat 1.
Hey!
Oh my god.
You travel through the city, and while you're doing so, some of you are fairly stealthy, while others are clearly making some noise. As you go along, you have multiple times, Darren exempt, of course, where you see off in the distance these creatures, and it seems as though they're looking for you. They scour around, looking up streets, and then curving around into alleyways. You guys pause whenever you can, and continue moving when the coast seems clear, until eventually you've emerged from the city and started to go towards this large lake of fire. You've made it out without being seen by some strange miracle. Perhaps these things are just horrible at finding people. Eventually,
lucky bastards for nothing.
as you're traveling along here, it's getting rather late, and for the majority of you, you can tell that this is around the time where you would normally go to sleep. Do you want to keep traveling for a few hours, or do you want to just camp here and then go over?
How long will it take us to get to the Azur?
It looks like a few more hours, about 4, maybe 3. You're going to be tired when you get there. There's a chance that some of you will have exhaustion.
We could get a rest there.
Yes.
More distance between...
Us and the snakes?
Yeah, that sounds way better to me.
Okay. You guys continue going. What is everybody's constitution score? Does anybody have a 10 or less? Or sorry, an 11 or less? No? Everyone's good?
I got a 13.
Ah, okay. In that case, nobody has to make any rolls. You're all well accustomed to the rigors of days without food, or times where a forced march is needed. By the time that you get over there, it's clear that it's time to kind of get some sleep, but you push through, and you eventually find yourselves at the incredibly large gate here at the bottom of the mountain. Standing outside of it, ever vigilant, the strange, metallic, and flaming dwarf-like creatures that you had seen before. One of them steps towards you and crosses his arms. He says something, but you're unable to understand.
I hold up a finger. Does he look like he's crossing his arms like he's like, you're back? Or, like, is there anything I can garner? Like,
Insight.
Is this the same one? Because I know they all more or less look the same because of they're like robotic
Bracelets.
almost. That's a 17.
This man is standoffish, and as you come back towards him, you get the sense that he's not pleased, but willing to hear you out. Whatever it is that you're about
Right.
to do.
So I hold up a finger, like, hold on a second, and I take out the scroll of tongues
Okay.
and I read it.
All right. The magical lighting suddenly flashes across the page as words become strange filaments of arcane energy, and the whole thing evaporates. As it does, you finish casting tongues. You can feel that your speech is empowered in some way.
Hello.
The one standing in front of you gives you a nod, and as he does, he says, "Ah, so you're like the other ones."
Ah, well, yes, those other ones were our allies. We were hoping to see if they came through this way.
Before I answer anything more, who are you?
Well, we are a group of adventurers. This is
Adventurers.
yes. This is Judarin, Vorok, and Ivan. I am Meneltirn.
I give a slight bow as he points to me, assuming that's what he's doing.
Out of curiosity, is he speaking still in common, or is he speaking their language?
Ah. So
Yeah,
the
what-
way that tongues works is, let's see here. He is speaking and you can't understand him as far as I know. Let's see here. Blah, blah, blah.
This spell grants the creature you touch the ability to understand any spoken language it hears. Moreover, when the target speaks, any creature that knows at least one language can hear the target understand what it says.
So this is a conversation that you guys are not privy to, unfortunately. If Meneltirn had cast it on the creature, you would all be able to understand him, but instead he
Oh, that
cast it
would've-
on himself. So
That would have been a better idea, wouldn't
Nice, going metal too.
indeed.
Well, I think it's better to have it on you. So if we talk to other ones,
it?
we can still understand.
Yeah,
them.
because this lasts for an hour.
So, you guys can't tell, but it's clear that there's an exchange going between the two, and the spell seems to have worked in some sense. At this point, the creature says, "To whose allegiance do you draw?"
Well, I suppose our main allegiance is to a town from the what would be the just like the regular plane of existence be called?
The material plane.
A city from the material plane. As far as creatures of this realm, if you mean that we are to suggest that we may be allies of, can't remember the name of the fire genies. Gotta look in
Jinn?
the Jinn. Is that what they're called?
There's multiple types of Jinn, but
Mhm.
those are the Ifrit, or the Afridi.
The Ifrit.
Yeah.
If you mean to suggest that we may be friends of the Ifrit, I can assure you that we are not. We have defeated one in battle, as well as some of their minions, the Salamander.
The moment that you say Ifrit, all the flame about his beard and hair suddenly flares up like he threatens to explode like a fireball, but it goes away as you mentioned that you've slain one, and their servants. His stance changes. He uncrosses his arms, and then says to you, "Well then, this town, what business does it have?"
What business does it have with the Azar?
Yes, I trust that you're here to do business on their part.
Well, I suppose we wish to regain contact with the two humanoids that passed through here. Their names Mavern and Westry. They
Yes.
were allies of ours, but they were forced to flee because of certain circumstances.
Days back, I spoke with them. They're in the city right now.
Oh, that is great news. Another thing that the town wishes, perhaps to, well, perhaps foster some kind of good relationship between us and the Azar. We know of many good things of your people.
Do we?
I'd like you to roll
Meneltieren has
persuasion.
like cursory knowledge.
Persuasion check, please.
Oh boy! That's a 10 plus. What is my persuasion? 2, 12.
12. Okay. He crosses his arms and he says, "Decision
There-
for the great general to decide if you're to be trusted. You say you're at odds with the Ifrit.
Yes, in a way.
Would you be prepared to ride into battle against them once again?
May I consult with my companions?
Please do."
I look back to the group.
He also
They-
turns to go and speak with the others, and you can understand what he's saying. In fact, he goes ahead and he tells them possible allies for the war ahead, and some of them
No.
nod to him.
Okay.
Meneltieren starts to sweat more than he was already.
When I speak with them, do the Azur understand?
Oh.
And
When
would
you
I know
speak,
that about
any
the spell?
creature that knows at least one language and can hear understands. So basically, right now, anybody around you can understand what you're saying as long as they know a language.
Wait, then wouldn't everybody else know what I was saying to the Azur, but not what the Azur was saying to me?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah,
they were
sorry,
getting a
that was a
one-sided
mistake on my part.
conversation.
Yeah, they get half of
Okay.
it.
Keep that in mind, guys. Don't know if you remember. Looking back, I don't know exactly what you were able to get out of that, but they appear to need allies in some war coming up, possibly with the Ifrit.
Huh.
Maybe this is what the Oracle spoke of.
Perhaps.
I'm game.
Okay, Ivan.
Considering what we know of the Ifrit so far, I have no issues.
Vorok, I suppose you may have issues with this.
Sorry, I'm back.
Quick recap. The Azur want us to join in on a war against the Ifrit or have possible allies, and Meneltieren has asked what you think of that.
They want allies, do they?
That is what they wish to know, if we are willing to ride into battle with them against the Ifrit, if necessary.
Aren't the Ifrit the ones that run that city we wanted to go to?
The Ifrit are the evil fire genies, the ones that were controlling the town before you arrived.
Well, I suppose we should smite evil genies.
Okay. I turn back to the Azur, waiting for him to finish his conversation with his partner.
Seeing that you look back to them, some of them meet eyes with you. They all look at each other and finish nods of agreement, and whispers are exchanged between them as one of them steps over to you. It's the same one that chatted before. And he says to you, "We've decided that you can enter the city for now. Potential allies should be treated with a proper greeting."
I give a slight bow and I say thank you.
Have you decided?
Yes, I believe so. The four of us say that we would be happy to ride into battle with you.
This is good news. Come. We should show you the halls. And before this happens, he extends to you a handshake. An incredibly large, muscular-looking hand of pure metal is extended towards you.
I very hesitantly and gently put out my hand to shake his.
He closes his fingers a bit, but stops before completely doing so. You feel like your hand is completely locked there and there's nothing you can do, but he gives you a gentle handshake and then just lets go. And he says, "Come." And as he starts to wander off, he gives like a hand symbol, and you watch as the gates begin to rumble open. Are you
About
guys?
how long did that conversation take?
The chit-chat outside here His
Yeah.
tongues lasts an hour.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe about 5 minutes.
Okay. I say, I'm sorry. Do you have a name?
Oh. Let's see here. He tells you that his name... He tells you his name is Adogast.
Adogast? Okay.
Let's see here.
Please put that into the chat.
Certainly shall.
Adogast, as it would happen to be, the spell that I cast that allows us to speak will only last for another 50 minutes or so. After that, we will not be able to communicate. The other wizard who is here may be able to aid us in that matter.
Yes. Seems that they've not been so swift to join our efforts, but one of them is taking to the speak rather well. We'll see if we can find them.
I give him a nod.
As you travel forward, all of you watch in great grandeur the halls present themselves to you. The gates part, and you see what looks like an incredibly large city stretching further into the mountain, where every single building is made of a combination of stone that has been seemingly held together by brass. In place where there would normally be more like a mortar to hold the stones, you find what looks to be like an almost goldish looking material that gives the whole thing like a very shiny and kind of opulent look, were it not for the fact that this is kind of more utilitarian than it is made for beauty.
I roll for being amazed.
I am amazed by what I can see.
The top of the Azure City goes up quite a ways. It's like a veritable sky up ahead, and you can see what look like great brass chandeliers and braziers that currently burn with an eternal fire that bathes the entire place in a good light that seems to be there all the time. As you step forward, you are guided by Adogast, who stays next to you, and you get quite a few looks from people in the town as you go by, though they just give you a passing glance most of the time, and then go back to what they're doing. The whole city is filled with a loud clanging, and off in the distance, further down one of the roads, you see what looks like an incredibly large forge. A forge that has been made so large that the only thing humanly possible to compare it to is an incredibly large castle. So picture, if you would, like a 4-story large gaping maw that has nothing but like an eternal flame burning in it, and like a whole ton of people on the outside with different anvils all constantly working at the same time.
Goddamn.
I give the druid bow to every person that I kind of meet eyes with that gives me a weird look.
Make a persuasion roll, please. Oh no.
Wow, 2.
Okay.
Is he winking while he does it? That is the real question.
Just the bows.
The different Azer are seemingly more taken up in their business, or maybe going to speak with foreigners like yourselves is looked down upon, but your bow doesn't seem to improve relations. They don't wander over towards you or anything like that, just merely turn away and kind of go back to their business. On occasion, you get like a brief, maybe a nod from one or two. As you're traveling further, Adogast begins to speak, and you can tell that your destination is either in the direction of, or somewhere around, this incredible large forge way down the street. But the city is rather large. He says to you, "So, our history is long. I know not of this city that you speak of. What qualms do they have against the Ifrit? What sort of evil have they done to you?"
Well, it's a rather, not, I don't want to say long story, but There are many things plaguing the material plane at the moment. There's an eternal winter that plagues everyone. We believe it to be caused by some battle between the gods. And as Valu, the city that we come from, was swallowed into the plane of fire some time ago, a rift between there and here keeps the city warm. As such, people fled there from the winter that, well, was killing many, as I understand.
Ah, yes, the treachery! He, like, shouts out, and you see a bunch of others are paying close attention to you now. And he says, "This is not the first time the horrible Jinn have taken a city from somewhere and burned it to the ground for their own amusement. We shall have our revenge." And as he, like, suddenly bursts forward with flame that comes from both his beard and his hair, he shouts, "Death to the Ifrit!" And everybody around him for, like, a solid 2 blocks shouts the same thing. Everything suddenly becomes incredibly bright and flamey, and then eventually goes,
I'm gonna shout it too.
Roll a persuasion check, this time with advantage, Vorak.
Would that be persuasion or performance?
Oh, yeah, you can do
to
performance
mimic-
if you have it. It's your
To
choice.
mimic the language.
Well, do I want -1 or -1? I'll take the 9.
Okay, it's a clumsy attempt. It's the first time you're trying to use their strange syllables and sounds, but, you know, the heart is there.
How similar is it to Dwarvish?
Oh.
I know Dwarvish, by the way, so that's
think
more
we
like
all
a
do.
curiosity question. Do we really all know Dwarvish?
Do we all know Dwarvish?
I know Dwarvish. I assume the Goliath that lived with dwarves knows Dwarvish.
And
Yeah.
Metal Tier knows Dwarvish for unknown
Nobody
reason.
knows Primordial, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. As you're traveling through town, you see what looks like writing on certain places, like maybe that's supposed to be a store where they vend things and whatnot. And the writing, for those of you who know Dwarvish, is similar. It's a very similar alphabet, but the sound of the words is rather different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Do we see writing nearby?
Yep, you can see
Or
that there's
that's
writing on
just-
different shops and things like that.
Okay, so, like, noting that, can we read the shop signs? Or is it just similar enough that it looks familiar?
It just uses the same alphabet. Like, the writing structure is totally different. So for you, it would be incomprehensible what it says. All you would know is, this is derived from the same alphabet.
Got it.
As they
So,
finish their screaming, I just lean down to Metal Tier and say, "What did you do?"
I say good things. Don't worry. More on. When we arrived in Valu, there was a Freet who was attempting to manipulate the citizens. We chased him into the plane of fire, where we finally slayed him.
Good. The only good Ifrit is a dead one. You made the right choice, friend. I think we're gonna get along quite well.
Say, I, for whatever reason, think so too.
I think that your friends are staying down here. And you guys notice that you stop traveling straight towards the forge, and actually he points down to a road towards the left, towards an area where there are not quite as many of these lights up above hanging from the ceiling. It's a good degree darker. He says to you, "They seem to want to live down here for the time being. Something about it being too hot." He leads
Yes,
you down there, and do you guys follow with?
Yeah.
Okay.
As we're walking, I also want to mention something to him. Yes, I don't really know why it slipped my mind, but as we were leaving the ruined city of Valu, where the portal lays to the material plane, there were some salamander searching for us, I believe.
Servants of the Ifrit, once again
Yes.
on the prowl. Seems you have their attention. Whatever deeds the salamander take, it's likely the Ifrit know about it. Hopefully they have not found you out.
No, we were able to, well, circumnavigate them for the time being. We wish to get here as soon as possible.
They're cunning, treacherous.
Yes, very treacherous. Meneltiern tries something. Death to the Efreet, right?
He shouts, "Death to the Efreet!" And you see, like, other passersby on the street suddenly burst into flame as they shout out as well.
Yeah, I do too.
Eventually you come up to a house here in the darker district, and it looks like a rather simple abode. There is what appears to be something like a window, a small, sort of circular, squarish opening into the outer street that you are on that peers inside. And you see a familiar couple of faces, Mavrin and Westrier in there, seated at a table. He goes up to the door here and opens it. It's made of brass, like much in the city. And as he goes in, he motions for all of you to step inside.
I go in first.
Okay. It's a rather simple abode. It kind of makes you think of a single room where everything is to be done, where the closest thing to compare it to in the material plane would be like a luxurious tavern room of decent size, but clearly built for creatures of some other world.
As we're coming in, Mavrin, Westry.
They look over, and Mavrin seems delighted to see you. Westry gives you like a brief wave, and Mavrin comes over and says, "Goodness, it had been a few days. I didn't know if I would see you again."
Yes, well, we came as soon as we finished with a few matters back in town.
He looks over towards the Azur that has come with you, and he gives him a nod, and the Azur gives him a nod as well, and then he turns back to you and says, "Well, how are things? We've been safe in town for the last while. No one's come to bother us. There have been no sightings of the, well, you know."
Well, I wouldn't think it. They were, well, how do I say, taken care of by the druids.
That's good to hear. Hopefully that's the end of it, then. Maybe they didn't report back.
Well, there lies the issue. When Ivan and I disposed of their bodies, a strange purple-ish flame burned. And, as Ivan told me, actually, Ivan, could you go into it? What it was exactly? You were the one who is more familiar with it.
Well, I'm not certain if it's what I think it is, but I've had an experience in the past where that kind of burning of the bodies, that colored flame indicates some kind of variant of necromancy at play, something that involves transposing the soul of one into another.
I see. Well, normally I would say that you're crazy, but truth be told, I've heard of some strange experiments happening in the Spire, and I've used them as some of my reasons to leave. Worry that the arcana of those wizards goes too far. May very well be right.
It's our concern that while the bodies were killed, the wizards themselves survived, returning to their original bodies.
What does that mean, Ivan? Does it mean they know where the town is?
Well, the Spire knows where the town is regardless. Whether or not they know if Mavrin and Westry are there is another story. If, for all... What they know as this point is that, well, they have fled into the Plane of Fire, and, well, could be anywhere for all intensive purposes.
Would they know who killed them?
Very likely.
Is this something that you told the druids, or are they in the dark about this?
Did we tell? We told Jack, right?
I don't believe that you told the druids about the fact that the Spire was using some sort of strange, like, husk, servants.
We did tell Jack. He could have told the
Jack,
druids.
he could have told him, yeah.
No, No, Varrock, I do not believe we told them directly. We did relay this information to Jack, and he could have told them, but we have no confirmation of that. I suppose we should mention it to them whenever we return to Valoo.
Adogast interrupts, and he says, I see you all need to speak with each other for some time. I will wait outside for a few minutes.
I give him a nod.
He steps outside, and you wonder just how much sound will actually be blocked by the window, which is without panes. But at least you kind of have your privacy here in this stone and brass room. You're able to talk with the fugitive wizard. What do you guys say?
Maverick.
Well, I certainly hope it wasn't too late by the time we get back to tell these druids. One of the only reasons that they wanted nothing to do with us was they thought it was no longer a concern. But apparently they're in the line of danger just as we are.
It would appear so. Mavrin, do you have the spell tongues at your disposal?
I do, yes.
Well, that's good to hear, as, well, the spell scroll that I transcribed, I am not able to cast it yet, but was able to use the scroll to get us this far. I just, well, hope that we are able to continue speaking with the Azar.
I see. Well, I do have the cursory knowledge of their language, and I've been speaking to them for the past few days. Some of their words, more complex ones, are still no longer available to me, but I do plan to learn it eventually. Fascinating creatures, though a bit headstrong.
Yes, and, well, very, very angry at the Ifrit.
I have come to realize that the majority of their life revolves around some sort of strange revenge plot against them. I talked about trying to get to the City of Brass, and it seems that they will not let us go there, though I have reason to believe they have a way into the city.
Fascinating. I mean, I can hardly blame them. The Ifrit are terrible creatures.
I've been asked to join them on some sort of crusade against them, but as it is, I've no interest in fighting a war. They brought this to you as well?
Yes, they asked us such a question when we entered the city.
See. Well.
We agreed.
He looks over to you and he says, you realize that the riches of the city will be unavailable to us if that's truly a course of action that you wish to take. I guess we could try and plunder some things. I don't think that we can win a battle against the Ifrit, by the way.
What makes you say that?
Well, they're incredibly powerful, and though the Azar are good crafters and sturdy in battle, I think it would take multiple Azar to take down but a single Ifrit. The city is filled with them.
Yeah. I mean, it took
4 in a life to take down one Ifrit on our end.
Yes, well,
if we're smart about it, it could prove to be not as much of a problem.
I think I understand what Mavrin is saying, though. We must not rush into anything too headstrong.
a heavy metallic knock hits on the door, and a voice calls out and says, "Well, are you all ready to go and speak with the Great General?"
Well, Mavrin, perhaps we shall speak again soon.
It might be best if I come with you, actually. I can do the translating. Even the Great General in all of his might doesn't seem to have anything for that.
Okay then, well, shall we go?
He gives you a nod, and he looks over to Westry and tells her that he'll be back in a few, and she just continues writing.
I say, yes, Adagast, we are ready.
You all follow behind him as he goes off.
Yes?
Okay. He leads you throughout the streets, and you even pass along what seems to be the outskirts of this incredibly large forge. There is like a barrier of a metal fence that kind of separates you from these large anvils that all of these creatures are working on. It's separated almost like it's some sort of like a holy area or maybe a construction yard they're not supposed to be given access to. Inside, you can see all manner of things which are being crafted. Things like incredibly large cogs that must be a part of machines you cannot fathom. Others are swords, some of which would be wielded by your own hands. Others a great magnitude larger, as though made for some giant-like creature. They are constantly at work, and you see dozens of anvils which are constantly being pounded on as items are churned out and metals are brought to and fro from this incredibly large gaping forge, which looks more or less like a gateway into hell itself. It's shaped like an archway that has flame burning in it and large coals. You go around this, and Adagast remarks at it as he looks over past the fence. He says, "Magnificent, isn't it?"
Ah, yes, you are, well, quite fine craftsman.
We'll have our revenge soon.
Meneltiern says nothing at this. Just quietly follows him.
He leads you into a doorway that is a part of this incredibly large forge. It appears to be both utilitarian in building itself, and you go through halls, upstairs, past different Aesir that kind of give you nods as you travel past, and eventually you find yourselves in front of an incredibly large gate. Adagast goes to exchange words with those around him, and that secures you passage, and then you end up at another gate, and then another one, and then another one, and after many times of passing by guards, you eventually get to what looks to be an incredibly grandiose throne room. The throne room is consisting of a large throne right at the center made out of brass, upon which there sits a single Aesir that looks to be a bit different from the rest. Not in that he wears different garb or has any sort of adornments, but his body has actually been crafted to look as though it's wearing a set of plate armor, though that armor may as well be his very skin, and he wears around his head an incredible crown from which at the center there is a large flame that burns. There's an impressive beard of fire as well, which burns and flicks out into different directions, and he kind of wraps his fingers a couple of times, his incredibly heavy metal gauntlet letting out taps and clinks throughout the great hall as you approach. Adagast introduces you, and he calls out, and he says, "Great General, I bring you people from the plane of from the plane of the material world. They come from a town of Valu, and it looks that they wish to join the war effort." And the man looks down and says, "Thank you, Adagast. I'll speak to them." Adagast bows and leaves, and you're left here with Mavrin as your translator, and this incredibly imposing-looking figure sitting on a throne, which is like a story or two up. During this conversation, we'll say that unless you tell him not to, Mavrin will translate everything that he says and everything that you guys say, so you can have a fluid conversation.
Okay, I was gonna say how much time left is on my tongues.
It's probably waning. You probably have maybe like half of it left.
So
maybe
30
a quarter.
minutes?
Yeah.
15 minutes?
Yeah, you can put it down for 15.
Okay. So like this conversation, and then that's probably it.
Probably, depending on how this goes.
Right. I'll tell Mavrin that he should translate for the rest of my party, as I still have tongues at my disposal.
He nods in understanding.
And I look to the party and I say, Mavrin is going to translate everything from what the general says and from what you say, so we can all have a conversation.
Should work.
And the general said that he understands that we wish to join the war effort.
Are you talking to us?
Yes.
Oh.
Why would I tell him that?
Hmm?
Are you guys
Oh
speaking
my.
in hushed tones here?
Not hushed tones. Like,
Okay.
this is me literally just explaining to them what's going on.
The general calls out, and he says, I welcome you, friends, to my great halls. If you are indeed to go against the Efreet, then perhaps we can turn you into proper soldiers yet.
I'm gonna let Mavrin do the translate. Is he like? Can we assume that he's doing the translating?
Yes,
Like,
yeah,
as
he
he's saying it?
translates this
Okay.
to you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, great general. We are not entirely, I suppose, privy to the set of circumstances of this conflict. Perhaps we could get a short explanation as to everything that is currently going on.
I have no problem sharing details, but only with sworn allies. What you can know right now is that the battlefield has never truly disappeared. The Efreet still have much to pay for their transgressions. Even now, my army grows. More and more of my soldiers are forged, and our weapons grow stronger. If you wish to join us, I would take you as allies.
Is this translated to us?
Yeah, sorry, just assume everything he says is translated to you guys. Yeah.
Okay, so once I find out what they're saying, how long has this war been going on? I don't want to sign up if it means I'm going to die here fighting.
What?
It's in like old age, not like death from
Die
wound.
here before fighting.
He says to you, the war has never truly ended, and we have been battling for thousands of years. Oh, and the latest we've had to resort to hiding. Brief retreat, a tactical withdrawal as we forge an army ready to return.
Vietnam. Tactical withdrawal.
I don't know how long he wants us to fight, but I'm not going to live thousands of years.
Yes.
Indeed.
Well, as it were, I think myself and my allies here, well, unlike the Azure, we do not live forever. Although that does not mean we cannot be of use as far as aid. Perhaps there is other things that we may be able to aid in the form of shorter tasks. Shorter meaning not thousands of years.
He calls out and he says, you fleshy things are worried of dying before the battle is drawn. Don't worry. With enough soldiers, we can march on them tomorrow. You say that you are from a town on the material plane. How many soldiers can you offer us? If we have enough, we could march now.
We do not have any soldiers. Our city
What?
is...
His beard explodes into fire, and a large orange light fills the entirety of the room. It reflects off of all the brass, and he stands up momentarily from his throne.
Our town is rebuilding itself.
It has been ravaged by an eternal winter set upon the material plane by a battle between the gods.
He leans back and sits in his chair once again. His fingers begin to tap. This will not do. So you say that only yourselves can be offered up.
At the moment, yes. the city grows, day by day, and people come in search of warmth from the never-ending winter. Although
I-
the capacity of the city is, well, rather limited.
General, if I may, I will not offer my citizens lives for this conflict. I will fight for as many of them as I need to.
You are
But
but
they have their
4
own-
soldiers.
I assure you, I am more than enough.
Yes, the townspeople are very weak. Dudarin does fight for all of them.
Thank you, Vorok.
Quite the wordsmith.
He pauses for a second and reaches up a hand to pull at the flame of his beard here, moving his brass gauntlet through the flames on occasion. He says, I'm not sure I wish to move to haste. I don't feel my army is yet capable. With enough soldiers, perhaps we could march on them. Maybe there's a different plan. What do you suggest?
Well, I have a few ideas. One, as I mentioned, and as Dudarin said, we would offer ourselves as allies, and we can do smaller, shorter tasks that may aid you in some way. In return for, I don't know, any sort of aid you could offer to us as well. Additionally, as this seems to be a conflict fought over many aeons, Velu will continue to grow, I suspect, and perhaps not today, not tomorrow, not a year from now, but if this conflict continues to go on in some many years, it may have the capacity to help.
I'd like you to all roll insight.
Let's see how I did with my words.
Could I throw athletics instead? I'm way better at that.
Can I roll athletic? That's a 7.
So 15.
Oh, never mind. That's an 18.
Okay.
There you go. And I got a 17.
It's difficult to discern the motives of such a strange and otherworldly being, but those of you who have rolled a 15 or higher get the sense that this strange metallic creature is receptive to your ideas. And this latest proposition from Meneltirn has given him pause of the positive sort. He's thinking, and he likes what he's thinking.
If there is any aid, as I know the Azar are great craftspeople and warriors, to help the city of Velu grow, Velu would, well, forever be indebted to it. And perhaps be able to aid in a conflict in some time. And in the meantime, like I said, we could offer up our own services for smaller, shorter tasks, as we are, well, but four strong adventurers, but nonetheless do not have thousands of years like the Azar.
Here's what happens. The great general begins to nod, and his nodding becomes a bit more intense and more drawn out. And eventually he stops, and he goes, yes! And he slams his heavy metal gauntlet hand down on the armrest. And he says, you will do such a task for me. To prove your loyalty, I believe that I could forge one. Bring me a body of the Efreet. Travel to the city of Brass and kill one of them. And I will be open to making such a contract with your town. We can provide you with much that can help you grow. And in return, you can send us soldiers for when the war does rage.
I look to Dudarin and the rest of the group.
If your town is weak, we shall build you up to be strong. And then, when we are all ready, we can march on the city of Brass and finally retake it.
I motioned to Mavrin to not translate for a moment.
Mavrin speaks to you and he says, "Are you sure? You'll know."
Yes, I just to gather my thoughts.
Mavrin turns over, and you understand what he says here, Meneltir. And he says to the Great General, "We would like to speak in private for a moment." And the General nods and continues to think, staring off to the side. Yes,
I
for
look
Puddle,
to Darren.
you say.
This is exactly what we need.
I think
Valoo
that
can't live on its own, and this was probably an inevitable fight for us anyway.
you did do rather a good job at how do the commoners say it, pissing off the Red Queen.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they like her or not. So don't mention that, maybe.
Yes, yes.
The alliances are
Nevertheless-
getting intense here. It's like I'm watching a game of Secret Hitler.
Maybe later after we kill an Ifrit, we could ask.
Well, perhaps never, actually. Don't ever bring it up to Darren. Ever.
You know, I'm going to agree with you on this. That sounds like a great idea.
Okay. That's in the past. We've changed. Moreover, like the general said, he can lend us aid in return for this favor. Going to the city of Brass to kill an Ifrit is going to prove a difficult task, but, well, possible.
Ivan Vorok, what are your thoughts? I don't want to sign you up for something you don't want to do.
Well, I can't help but feel you're going to be indebted to the Ifrit for the rest of time. If this
You mean
fight's
the-
been going on as long as it has, I don't know
You mean
why
the
weak
Azar.
Valoo would be able to stop it.
Well, if we can keep the fighting on the plane of fire, then only those truly brave or crazy enough in Valoo in the future will come over to fight. And if it's that far in the future, then Valoo will also be a stronghold as powerful as this one seems to be.
I'm just concerned about how long we're signing up to help them. If this next attack does not win the war, there will be no end.
Well, if the next attack doesn't win the war for the Azar, it may win the war for the Ifrit, in which case we might.
In which case we've chosen the losing side.
In which case there may not be a problem anymore.
As Valoo will be, like Darren said, a stronghold.
Well, you're the leader of the town, Dudarn, but I would be cautious about this.
Meneltir, you hear something. Yeah, well,
Mhm.
all of you hear it, but you actually understand it. The general calls out, and he says, not in your direction, instead shouting over his shoulder, "My artisans, bring them to me."
Artisans?
Yes.
Now, is there anything that I could gather from that? Like, are any craftspeople artisans? Are people like? Do I have any kind of cursory knowledge that would allow
Now, the
me
word
to kind
carries no special significance for you,
Okay.
though given how these people live, maybe an
Mhm.
artisan is not exactly what you think it is on the material
Right.
plane. And you notice that what looks to be two guardsmen that have been standing along the side of the hall quickly, hurry out a door.
In any case, I think this is the best course for Valoo at this moment.
If we agree to this, you should keep in mind this is not a promise you can back out of.
That I know.
Well then, shall you tell him?
I think so. I look around the group one last time.
Shrug at you. It's your choice, Dudarin. It's your town.
Meneltirn is constantly nodding.
I will signal.
I can assure you, Dudarin, though, if we're expected to live the rest of our lives trying to help these help these fire dwarves, I don't know that that's a promise I can keep for the rest of my life.
By the terms of this agreement, we just need to bring one Efreet corpse, and we have secured an ally. And the fighting will be later.
Up to the future denizens of Valu.
Which, who knows, may not even happen. They may never get the numbers they seek.
I would like a perception check from you, please, Meneltirn, and I'm going to roll one for Mavrin as well.
Okay.
Okay, he didn't roll well. You better get this.
Oh, fuck me. That's a 12.
Okay, let's see here.
Did he get it?
Let's see. You did, because the Great General is not great at speaking quietly.
None of them are.
During your group huddle, it seems that a group of about half a dozen Azur come into the room. They seem to be made with a great deal of care. Their bodies have been augmented in some way to look almost regal. They have like clothing and armor that seems to set them for a purpose above that of those that you'd seen out in the street. And they have a brief talk, first bowing in front of the Great General, then traveling up the first few steps to chat with him. And as he speaks to them, you hear a couple of snippets. He tells these 6 to go out and fashion a gift for the material plane worthy of an alliance to last out throughout time. And all of them look at each other and nod, and then head on out of the room.
I look back to the group, and I say, I think this is the right decision.
Looking at the Great General, like, as he, like, I assume we all looked at him when he started talking loud.
Well, it looked like he was trying to be hush-hush with these guys, so whether or not you want to keep watching is up to you.
Just when he was talking, did he look, like, excited about it?
He looked like he was handing out orders.
Okay.
If you want to try and get more, you can definitely roll insight.
I'm not so great with those rolls.
Let it be.
I will signal Mavrin that we're ready to continue.
Okay. He gives you a nod, ready to translate. What do you say?
General, this is, I believe, the greatest path for our 2 cities to take. We are your allies. We will do this task of you that you wish.
He stands up and begins to walk down the steps. As he does, he details out a contract to you. He says, "Till the end of the days, our 2 towns will be as one. You will provide what souls you can for the effort against the Efreet. And we will provide to you means to grow your town and fortify it. Does this sound like a good deal to you?"
Yes.
Very well. We can construct you walls, great walls of stone and brass. We can also construct you weapons. How many soldiers can you offer me?
We already told you we don't have any. They're weak.
We will have to start somewhere then. If your advisor is right, then let's say...
We have some that may be willing to be trained, but none that are great warriors at the moment.
I don't think any of them are going to want to fight in a war in the Plane of Fire. Good luck convincing them of that.
Well, if you cannot fulfill your side of the bargain, then there will be no bargain. His fiery beard and all of his hair sort of flames up at this.
I assure you we can work something out. Due to recent events, the town has hit a bit of a snag, but there are those that I put great trust in.
Fine. How about this? By the time that the first day of spring returns, you shall have ready for me 50 soldiers. And then past that, I will expect proper battalions from you yearly to be sent over. Return, we will bring over a yearly shipment of supplies as well. We'll craft you the weapons and fortifications you need.
And if the soldiers are not ready when you request them,
then our alliance will grow shaky. I had not thought of that. I can guarantee you that I can supply my end of the bargain. Did not think that you would have so much trouble procuring for me a small battalion of soldiers. Is the material plane not filled with fleshy things?
They are.
it's filled with snow right now.
Has the treachery of the Efreet not harmed them as well? I see across the great waste here a new city every now and then, the latest to arrive. Well, surely there is cause for you to go to war.
There is cause, and I believe that we can convince some that the first of spring comes in some. What is it? Three?
A fantastic idea. We shall travel over to your town and help you to convince the people. To cement the deal, you will uphold your bargain. I want an Efreet noble dead in front of my throne. And in return, I will craft for you the first great brass ballista to be put on your city's ramparts. When you present this body, we will travel to your town and show you this magnificent weapon. And then, I think your people will be convinced. What say you?
I think that well, I think a giant ballista crafted by the masterful Azar would certainly be enough to convince a good number of people.
I put out my hand and from was like, this will be a momentous deal for both of our kind.
He extends a hand to you as well, and before your hands meet, he kind of holds his away. The creature, you've seen all these are like incredibly short, but this one stands at like a full 7 feet, perhaps 8 if you were to include the crown that goes up. And he pauses for a second, and you watch as both his beard and his hair starts to swell with more flame that threatens to explode outward at any moment. He says, "Death to the Efreet."
Death to the Efreets.
Death to the Efreet.
He shakes your hand. It's a solid handshake. And when he lets go there, turns around and holds a fist in the air and shouts, "Death to the Efreet!" And all the guards stamp their feet in perfect unison and synchronicity as they shout as well. The room alights with flame, and he turns back to you and gives you a toothy metallic grin. And we will end the session there.
Oh boy. Did we just create Season 2 Steampunk City?
Yeah, baby!
Given what I had talked about before, you are all level 5. Fucking go for it.
Oh shit.
Shit!
You're gonna need it, because you're gonna be battling armies of genie.
Don't remind us.
You're also gonna have to convince a whole town to go to a foreign world and fight in some fucking battle against creatures they don't understand. And soon you're gonna have emissaries of metallic flaming dwarves delivering giant metallic ballistas to your town through their magical FedEx, so it's gonna be a good time.
Magical FedEx.
The amount of awesome but death as well has increased, I think.
We're gonna have to take some time before the Efreet come over just to prep the townsfolk, like, I mean, before the Azure come over, it's like some fire dwarves are gonna come in. They're our friends.
They're super nice, and yeah, just be cool.
Be cool.
Everybody be cool.
Oh man. Okay.
This is gonna be very interesting.
So, to all the players, I don't know if your decisions were the right ones, but you made them. To all the audience, thanks for tuning in. To the patrons, you guys are great. We're going to talk some random stuff. You're welcome to hang around. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow for their fucked up adventure. And God bless you, Tuesday. We'll see what happens next week. Adios.
Oh.
Good God. You fuckers.